Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Excited to speak with you on today. Today, we're going to be dealing with promiscuity, adultery, and marriage. We're going to be dealing with promiscuity, adultery, and marriage. I'm going to let you guys come in. And as you come in, of course, I ask that you make sure that you are engaging. Make sure you like and share. I have some notes for you today. And I think this is going to change lives. Not only is it going to change lives, this is going to be one of those videos that if you listen to it in its entirety, you're going to know who to send it to. You're going to say, okay, I need to send this to such and such. I need to send this to such and such because it's going to bless so many people. It's going to change so many lives and what have you. That's what my goal is to do. As a matter of fact, when the Lord placed on my heart to deal with the topic of adultery, to be honest with you, I really didn't want to deal with it. But then the Lord laid it on my heart. One, of course, if God is telling you to do something, it's somebody He's trying to reach. And at the same time, the great thing about, when it comes to videos and stuff like this, is that it's on the internet. So even if it's 2 or 3 years from now, there will likely be a man or a woman who is in need of this word. So we're not necessarily just doing it for the right now. Sometimes God will have you place revelation up for later. So good evening or good afternoon, everybody. Sister Casey Do, Sister Chrissy, Proverbs 31, Lamb's Book, Sister Karis, Andrea, Sister Idina, Sister Catherine, Sister Shawana, and Sister Jacqueline. How are y'all doing? How are y'all doing? Sister Mariah, Sister hello KG, Sister Sunshine, Sister Bratz. Mariah, can I do a question and answer song? Yeah, I'll probably do one this week. I'll likely do one this week. I'll likely do one this week. Bratz, how are you? I'll likely do one this week. I don't like to do them at the end of the videos anymore because sometimes the videos are really relatively long. When I was doing question and answers, it would turn into a 5 or 6 hour video. But I do have to put some controls up on question and answers because even when I do a single question and answer, it turns into it'd be 3 hours in, and I have to decide, hey, I'm gonna have to end this because people are still posting questions. So there are a ton of people with a lot of things that they're curious about or what have you. So do me a favor, like this and share it. Like I said, as you listen to this in its entirety, you're gonna know who needs to hear this. You're gonna know who needs to hear this. Because I'm dealing with three topics on today. I'm dealing with three topics on today. They are all interconnected. So we're gonna start off with the topic of promiscuity. I'm not going to delay. We're gonna start off with the topic of promiscuity. Now, just to say this, I used to have a misunderstanding about promiscuity. What have you? And I remember when I was in the world, I thought, being promiscuous or in the world, they called it being a yo. Um, I thought that meant that was the type of female that let guys, multiple men sleep with her at one time. They used to call it running a train. Um, that's what I thought that was. And that was something that I frowned upon. That was something that my friends frowned upon, what have you. I remember having this one girl that went to my school. She was trying to be my friend. She lived in my neighborhood. She was close friends with a friend of mine. So both of us lived in the same neighborhood, but she was close friends with a friend of mine. And even though we rode the same bus, I stayed friends with my friend, but I really didn't fool with her like that. And the reason I didn't fool with her is because she was promiscuous. And promiscuous in a way where she would let guys run trains on her. I remember we were living out in this really nice neighborhood for the first time in our lives, but there were some hoods out there, some hood dudes out there. And they hung together, they kept up a lot of trouble or what have you. And for whatever reason, she was trying to impress them and what have you. She was sleeping with them. It was my dad that actually pulled her out of promiscuity. It was my dad, because I used to go home and tell my dad about it. I was like, she be letting these dudes run trains on her. And she used to brag about it. The few times that she came around me in the beginning, now we eventually started hanging out a little bit, but not too much. We eventually started hanging out because after my dad spoke to her, she changed her life. She had for whatever reason, when she got around me, I remember her bragging about letting guys run a train on her. She was like, girl, I was with him and I was with him and I was with him. And I'm just sitting there looking. And I remember the mutual friend we had, I used to tell her, like, I can't be her friend. And she was like, why? I said, because I'm not like you. I'll tell her. Like, I'm going to say something to her. And the girl was a fighter, too. I'm like, she don't want to fight me because I'll say something to her. Hello, Brother Andre. God bless you. Hello, everybody. How are y'all? I was like, she don't want to fight me because, I'll say something to her, trying to let her know that's not cute. So long story short, what ended up happening was one of the guys ended up raping her. And that was because, they felt entitled to her body. They were guys who were rebels and they felt entitled, what have you. And one of the guys ended up raping her. And that was the thing, that was a wake up call for her was, how he had done it. And he raped her. She told him no only because she was on her cycle and she was trying to get him, to back off, and he raped her. And then he was really disrespectful, and that's when she realized, because for whatever reason, she thought that being promiscuous meant that the guys actually liked her. She thought that being promiscuous meant that the guys, they were like, wow, And I'm like, that's why I kept telling my friend girl, I was like, I can't be her friend. But long story short, I remember she talked to me about the rape, and I told her that wasn't okay. I was like, you need to call the cops or what have you. And I ended up telling my dad what happened or what have you. And my dad was like, let me talk to her, what have you. So my dad, he talked to her. And I remember after she came out, from talking to my dad, she came out, she was like, I love your dad. She's like, I love your dad. I love your dad. But he helped her to understand that, hey, these guys are not respecting you. You need to put some boundaries up. And this is not a good thing that you're doing. So she ended up coming out of promiscuity to an extent. She stopped letting guys run trains on her, but she was still in the realm of promiscuity. And the reason I say that is because I didn't realize that I was promiscuous, because her promiscuity didn't look like mine. Because for me, I wasn't out there running trains. As a matter of fact, my definition of a promiscuous woman, or AKA a hoe, as we used to say, my definition of that, if you sleep with one guy and then you sleep with another one, you were a mess. That's how, that was my definition. And some of the girls that I used to hang with, that was our definition. Like, you're supposed to be in one committed monogamous relationship or what have you. And you having sex, you having sex. And then if you come out of that, if you start dating somebody else, it's different. But for whatever reason, we kind of believe that you had to give yourself a little bit of space between those relationships, because it wasn't a good idea to jump out of one bed and into the other. And it wasn't until I got into church. Now, first and foremost, let me say this. I already knew that fornication was wrong. I already knew that before I even got saved. Before I got into church, I knew that was wrong. But it wasn't until I started going to church that I realized that I was I'm trying to be YouTube friendly, but I didn't realize that my pastor said something that really changed my life. And this is the thing, when God has tugged on your heart. I was so hungry for the word of God, that I remember the majority, like a large amount of his teachings, and this one stood out. I remember he said, if you are having sex outside of marriage, you're a hoe. According to the Bible. He said we have a modern day understanding of the word whore or what have you. We have a modern understanding of it. He said, but that's not the same as the biblical understanding. He said, really, whore is harlot. And harlot is if a woman has sex, and if she was not married and she has sex, biblically speaking, she was a harlot. And so what I was doing was I was going with the rap music video, secular world, Hollywood, BET, MTV definition of the word hoe. I was going with that because I figured if I get in a relationship with him and it don't, if we're in a relationship, that's kind of to be expected in a relationship, right? And then if it don't work out with him, I can talk to somebody else. But I had a 3-month rule when I was in the world. I had a 3-month rule, which didn't always work out. But I had a 3-month rule. I had to date you for 3 months before we could. But still, that was still a form of promiscuity. And so I want to give you some facts about promiscuity on today. I'm going to also give you some facts about adultery, and I'm going to give you some facts about marriage. And I just need one favor before I move into this message. I need YouTube. I need y'all to show out today. Honestly, Listen, and Facebook, I'm about to disconnect y'all. I'm gonna need y'all to engage. I started not to go live on Facebook. Facebook, I need y'all to engage for real. Don't be spectators. Um, YouTube, I need y'all to show out. I need your comments. I need you guys to really pull on God, because whenever you're pulling on Him, then the revelation is going to flow. The wisdom that He shares is not my own. It is what He shares with me. Of course, I have experienced, things that I've learned, but it has to pair up with His revelation in order for it to be truth. So one of the things that I need you guys to do is to engage Facebook. Facebook. Let me go look and see who all on Facebook. Just looking. I ain't gonna buy it down. I'm just not gonna connect to Facebook. Y'all need to engage. Okay. Promiscuity. I'm gonna give you 6 pointers about promiscuity. Thank you, Brother Andre. God bless you. I'm gonna give you 6 pointers about promiscuity. Before I get into that, I immediately think about an old friend of my sister's. Because promiscuity is actually very common and it's being normalized. A lot of sexual things, deviancies are being normalized today, to the point where if you talk against them, you will have people coming out against you like crazy because it has been normalized. But I just immediately started thinking about an old friend of my sister's who was really promiscuous. And this girl, she was young. I remember this girl was like 12 or 13 years old. She was the same age as my sister because I was 18 at the time. And I remember my sister coming back and telling me this girl she was doing her thing. She was 12. She looked like she was 16 or 17. And this one story sticks out in my mind. There's one story sticks out in my mind. I remember my sister came home and she was like, and I'm gonna make up a name for this girl. I'll call her Brownie. She said she was walking with Brownie and some dude pulled up. Now, me coming out of a bad neighborhood, y'all need to understand that pedophilia is bad all over the world. And it's bad in bad neighborhoods as well. So I don't want to say it's worse in one neighborhood or the other. I will say that growing up in bad areas, pedophilia is extremely common. There are a lot of guys that are willing to sleep with a young girl. Every female on here will tell you when she was under the age of 18 about some grown man that knew her age that came up on her. It was not uncommon. Thank you, Tiana. God bless you. But it was not uncommon for a grown man to roll up on you. And for me, I remember being in the world, and that happened to me. That happened to me multiple times. And the thing about it was I actually looked young, and guys would roll up on me. And I remember one of the common things that I've heard guys say. They're looking at me like, y'all look like y'all a tell. Y'all some pretty little girls. Look at you, look at. And oh man, they look like they'll tell. They'll probably tell. I used to say I show with. I tell everybody. I call my mom. I tell my dad. I'm calling the police. I'm telling everybody because that thing. What I was trying to do was to get them to understand that hey, you're not about to do this to me. You're not about to do this with me or what have you. So those of you who are fathers or those of you who will be fathers, please hear me when I tell you, your daughter needs you. I need you to hear me when I say this. Your daughter needs you. Because one of the hardest things, thank you, Sister Ileana, God bless you, sis. One of the hardest things to be born with is a vagina. I don't know, it's like crack cocaine. Because when a girl is young, grown men roll up on them. When a girl is young, grown men will roll up on them, and it's always the same test. Just so the guys can know to the females, just show raise of hands over in the comment sections. How many of you have had a grown man who knew you was a child try to get with you? And one of the things that they commonly say is, "You look like you'll tell." That's the test. You look like you'll tell. You look like you'll tell. Man, she cute. She look like a little woman or what have you. But you look like you'll tell. You need to hear me when I say this. Fathers, please talk to your daughters. Talk to them if you're in their lives and if you're out. Talk to your daughter. Your daughter will find it hard to hear from her mother about respecting her body. But if you talk to her about respecting her body, she will more likely listen to you because you represent the male figure. And men are very deceiving and conniving. They find those open doors or what have you. I'm telling you right now, brothers, talk to your daughter. So my sister's friend, she was 12 years old. My sister come back, she tells me, she says, Brownie and I were walking, and this guy rolled up on us. This guy pulled up on us, and um, it was I think it was one guy in the car at that time. I'm not sure. And the guy said, "You look like you'll tell." Yeah, he started talking to them, talking about how pretty they were. What have you? He was, "You look like you'll tell." And my sister was like, "Come on, let's go. What have you?" But her friend Brownie was like, she said, "No, I won't tell," because she was looking at this as a handsome guy driving a nice car, and this guy got Brownie in his car and drove off with her. Got my sister, pretty much was like, "Hey, and Brownie like she ain't gonna say nothing." And my sister come back and tell me about it, and I was like, and that's the thing about Brownie, was that everybody knew that she was out there. I'm talking about out there. This is a man, she didn't even know his name. Got in the car with him, got back, told my sister this man went parked in a field. Thank you, Sister Natasha. God bless you. He went and parked in a field and had sex with a 12-year-old girl. Had sex with a 12-year-old girl. That honestly is not uncommon. That is not uncommon. So we're going to talk again about promiscuity. First and foremost, we have to establish the fact that promiscuity is not sleeping with multiple men. Promiscuity is having sex outside of marriage, and you become more promiscuous when you're sleeping with multiple people. Now, it's not just a male thing or a female thing. It's both. It could be men can be promiscuous and women can be promiscuous, but it's more culturally accepted for a man to be promiscuous than it is for a woman. And I do understand nowadays we have this feminism movement, and we have people out here who say, well, if a man can do it, so can a woman. And I want to give you a little bit of insight to the women, and it has to be heard. And I don't care, because I know that sometimes when you talk on these type of things, that you're going to upset feminists or what have you, who pretty much are riding against the word of God as if they can defeat the word of God. Not all feminists, obviously. I'm talking about the ones who are trying to equalize things, and it's like, you're not a guy. Thank you, Sister Meek Meek. God bless you. You're not a man, and that has to be understood. A man can have sex with multiple women, and the only thing will happen to his Johnson is that nothing, or it may grow because he's constantly using it. To my sisters, you don't want to grow. That's not what you want. That ain't what you want. That ain't what you want. You don't want to be out of shape, because when you get married, you don't want that. So the body was not made for fornication, and that's not just for women, but that's also for men. But it has to be understood, and you have to understand as women, is that men are wired different from women. Men can handle promiscuity a lot better than women can, because women were not designed for that. Neither were men designed for it, but they were allowed at one point. It wasn't a sin. It wasn't necessarily restricted. Jesus came and dealt with it when he, started walking in the earth. But it wasn't restricted for a man to have multiple wives. It wasn't restricted. So men are not necessarily emotional creatures. They're not. I'll say this. Men are imparters, women are receptors. Men are imparters, they impart, women are receptors. We are the weaker vessel according to the word. And so you can go out here and try to do like a guy. It doesn't work like that. The only thing that's going to happen is that you're going to become very hard-hearted, stiff-necked. You'll be a collector of souls, and at the end of the day, you will just be thrown around. A guy can go out here and be promiscuous, and then finally decide, hey, I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to settle down. You try to do that as a female, by the time you're ready to settle down, you ain't got no walls left. You had to go there. I had to go there. So that's not something that is good, guys. So we need to understand that promiscuity, like I said, is sleeping with, being a harlot or being a whore is sleeping with a person outside of marriage. That's biblical. Thank you, Shay Love. God bless you. That's biblical. And the thing about it is we can get upset with it, but it's biblical. And then two, promiscuity. Anytime you're promiscuity, just like fornication, is a heart condition. It's not just so much as laying your body down, it's the belief that makes you lay your body down. It's the belief that you have that makes you lay your body down. It's called prostitution. It's the mind of a prostitute. Is when you think that I can give this guy my body, or I'm gonna sleep with somebody, I'm gonna put it on real good, and he gonna want to marry me. I know what it's like to be in that world. I know what it's like to have the wrong mindset, and you're out there buying Kama Sutra books and all this other stuff because you think if you find the right way to put it on him in the bedroom, that you're going to whip him, and then when he's whipped, he gonna want to marry you. That is a lie from the pit of hell. That is a lie from the pit of hell. It has to be understood, ladies. If nobody ever told you this, thank you, brother Andre. God bless you. Always a blessing. Um, Ladies, this has to be understood because this is a deception that is prevalent today. You have the same thing the next woman has. You have the same thing the next woman has. You may say, well, maybe I have better sex than her. Not really. It's all about teaching her. Now, there are some women out there who they done been around the block a few times, and they, like I said, they didn't kind of tore down the walls of Jericho. But you have the same thing as the next female. That has to be understood, because if you don't understand that, you will go out here and practice and do all of that stuff trying to learn how to whip a man. And I hate to say it, you're not going to whip him. He can enjoy having sex with you. But sex has almost always, for women, it is 90% psychological. For men, there is some psychology involved in it as well. A man can be with a woman, have a sexual relationship, no commitment, no strings attached relationship, sexual relationship with a woman, sleep with her for years on end. She can have him howling and screaming, and he will not put a ring on her finger. Will turn around and marry a virgin. Will turn around and marry an inexperienced woman. Because when it comes to a man, whenever he's about to give his body away, he doesn't mind experience. Now that's a difference. I want you to hear this. And then I'm talking about carnal guys, or what have you, guys who are not completely, surrendered to God yet. Thank you, Sister Cassandra. God bless you, sis. Wow, thank you for the seed. God bless you. A man, he doesn't mind experience when he's about to give his body away. But when he's about to give his heart away, he doesn't want experience. Thank you, Sister Shonda. God bless you. He doesn't want you to come into the bedroom with a bunch of experience. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a little bit of secret, and my brothers back me up and let me know if I'm wrong. Men typically don't want somebody that other guys can brag about having had. And I know we can go, because I know the feminists on here, they be like, well, what about the female? Culturally, we can talk culturally. At the end of the day, you can go do what you want to do. You can either obey the word of God, you can go do what you want to do. But let me know how that works for you. Let me know how that works for you. Because if you go out here and you try to do the same thing as a guy did, like I said, you will find yourself, and nobody will want to commit to you. You'll be full of souls. You'll end up bitter because you're not created. You are a receptor. And this is something that women have to understand. You are a receptor. You are also the weaker vessel. That's not just weaker in strength. That's weaker emotionally. You cannot handle promiscuity. You cannot handle promiscuity. You can't handle promiscuity. It'll mess you up. You can't you'll end up becoming controlling. You'll end up becoming very either dominant or super seductive. You'll probably be that 55-year-old woman in the club looking at a 19-year-old boy talking about some boy, I have you calling your mama. You cannot. A man doesn't mind experience when he's about to give his body away. But whenever he's about to give his heart away, men, for the most part, women will give you our trust. We'll give a guy our trust just because he says something. Men, on the other hand, don't give you their trust just because you said something, because every man has heard this lie. I don't usually don't give it up this easy. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. It's just it's something special about you, or I don't know what happened. Why I feel so ashamed. And you can ask any man if he believed that, he'll tell you now he'll play along with it. But don't nobody believe that. I know. Listen, there's some females on here right now. Like, you mean to tell? No, they gonna play along with it. Oh wow. They don't want to make you feel crappy in the moment, but they know better than that. They know that you done did that before. You done did that before, and the man has already parked you in the concubine chambers. I don't want to commit to her. I'll sleep with her, but that's it. She ain't going nowhere near my heart. She's not going. And we have to understand this, because a lot of times when we go through this feminism stuff, we try to make guys like us. And this is one of the things I've had to counsel married couples. And I've had to get the woman to understand he's not a girl. I had to get the guy to understand she's not a boy. Like, before you get married, you need to understand things that women typically do, and woman, you need to understand things that men typically do, because when you get married, if you don't do that, you know what ends up happening. And I've been married before. When you don't understand the male species, and when they don't understand this female species, you take a lot of your information and revelation from movies. You take a lot of your revelation and information from movies. So you'll be sitting up watching TV, and a woman go to acting crazy and doing stuff, and your husband go, y'all women. You know why? Because right then and there, he realizes that, you know what? She ain't crazy after all. This is something that typically happens with women. Okay. And so a lot of times when you're watching a movie with a guy that you're married to, if he has no education about women, he will either get flattered and excited and, just to know that you ain't broken and crazy, or he'll get offended. He'll get offended. He'll be like, yep, these females stupid. They're just crazy, or what have you. But you want to make sure that you understand. So let me go ahead and get into these pointers. Promiscuity, number one, is the result of love being awakened before its time. It's the result of love being awakened before its time. What Satan wants you to do is have sex one time. He wants you to have a pleasurable experience or a horrible one. So if you have a pleasurable experience, you're going to want to get it again. And if you have voids, what it does, and that's one of my pointers, so I'm not going to jump, but he wants you to have a pleasurable experience, because then you'll go back and do it again and again and again and again. And what he wants to do, first and foremost, he wants to take you out of the realm of sin and into the realm of rebellion. Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Then you start using sex as a tool, which is witchcraft. It becomes a source of prostitution, and witchcraft is your attempt to get the person, for the female, it's the attempt to get the man to love you, to commit to you. For the guy, men just like to have women under their power. It's to pleasure himself and to have that woman subject to him. The Bible says he humbled her. That's what men do. They humble you. They humble you. So it's the reality or the result of love being awakened before its time. Whenever love is awakened before its time, that means you're too immature. You don't know the word. Thank you, Brandy. God bless you, sis. You don't necessarily know the word of God. You don't know who you are yet. And you're out here playing around in something that you don't necessarily understand. It's like giving somebody a keys to the car and they 10 years old and they don't know how that works. And so that person gets in, she kind of knows a little bit about the highway. So she's able to get the car out of the driveway onto the highway, but eventually she'll kill herself. She'll kill herself and probably take some people with her, because she doesn't understand. She's not tall enough. She's not smart enough. She's not emotionally strong enough. On the highway, when you have those crazy drivers, you got to you got to have a degree of strength mentally, because when people are doing all this stuff, you can't panic. You can't start screaming and crying. You can't pull over. What you have to do is you got to drive for the other driver. You got to kind of slow down, let them go on about their way, talk your noise in the background, whatever you got to do. But at the end of the day, you got to have a certain degree of emotional strength. Whenever a person gets involved in sex when they're not ready for sex, that person is going to start experiencing some things that person should not have experienced. That's the reason why you can go, let's say, for example, a married woman who's godly and, she waited till she was married, to have sex, and she has a good godly marriage. She doesn't understand a lot of the emotions that you may have, which is why God has to raise up people who come out of the world to help you to understand. So somebody can come out and say, "Hey, I understand why you feel crazy. I understand why you wanted to set his car on fire. I understand why you wanted to go get yourself a Glock 9 and blow his brains out. I understand, but that's not healthy because you weren't ready for the event that you got involved in. You weren't ready for it. And when you get involved in fornication, the only thing that fornication is going to do is it's going to lead you down a path of promiscuity, because the enemy will never, first and foremost, we know fornication is sin. The enemy will never allow sin to bless you. And so we have to come out of the deception that this will bless me in the end. We're gonna do what we do, then we're gonna get married, and then I won't be in sin no more. No, sin is in your heart. Sin is in your heart. And you have to understand, at the end of the day, if I have to give my body, if I got to give a sin offering to this man in order for him to commit to me, he's not the one. If I got to give a sin offering to him for him to marry me, then me not giving a sin offering would have done what it was supposed to do. It would have James 4:7 his tail. Submit yourself to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So what I was supposed to do was submit to God. Clink, clink, what Medea said. I was supposed to submit to God and say, nope, I don't do that. And what would happen is, please understand, because ladies, you got to understand this. He's not gonna say, "Oh, I respect you," and then he gonna hold in there. Now he's gonna be really flattered because he ain't never had a woman that was abstinent before, and he's gonna stick in there, and we gonna get married and live happily ever after. No, that's not what. Because that's a form of witchcraft when you're using it that way. Me being abstinent is not my attempt to get a man to marry me. I need you to hear me. I want y'all to hear me. Is my attempt is me honoring God, that's my reasonable service, me respecting myself, me honoring my father because I'm wearing my daddy's last name. It's also, y'all got your ears open because I need y'all to hear. I need you to like and share. I need you to like and share. It's also my attempt to scare away the wrong man. I want him to go. See, I grew up in that culture. I grew up in Mississippi, and I was taught, just like you better try to hold on to that man. And I did. And I held on to some crazy ones. I held on because that was what I was taught for a minute. It didn't take me long to come out of that. I came to realize that, hey, so it's my attempt to honor God. It's my reasonable service, meaning it's not something I'm doing extra that God says, great job. No, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But it's my attempt to honor God, to honor my own self, to honor my father. And it's also my attempt to drive away the wrong man that has to be understood and heard, and it has to penetrate your heart. Because if you don't think that way, then what you're going to do is you're going to fight to hold on to somebody that God is trying to deliver you from. Thank you, Sister Crystal. God bless you, sis. You will fight to hold on to somebody that God is trying to deliver you from. So it's the result of love being awakened before it's time. Let's go to number 2. It's the result of a void. It is the result, and we're talking about promiscuity, and we can even relate this to sex before marriage. It is the result of a void. It is your attempt to fill a God-sized void. And this is why most marriages end in divorce. More than 50% of first-time marriages end in divorce is because you find out outside of marriage, you think, and I can be honest, I can sit here and say, the majority of you probably still on here think that if I have the husband, if I have, or the spouse, what have you, if I have the spouse and I have the house, the money, the car, the children, perfect family, I'll be happy because I have somebody to love me. I'll have financial security. I'll have peace. That's deception. That's deception. You won't. Voids those are empty rooms in your soul that you have not allowed God to come into. Voids are empty rooms in your soul. Your soul is like full of rooms. Voids are like empty rooms in your soul that are dark. That's what a void means. Void means absent of light. God, the Bible refers to God as light. It's absent of revelation. That's what a void is. It's a room inside your soul. It could be the daddy room. Your father wasn't there. That room is there's a void there. So you want somebody to be a father figure. That's why we got this term zaddy now. Pedophilia, all up in relationships, daddy, zaddy, and you got girls, grown women who have to go. And I'm all for having fun in the bedroom when you're married, but when you're having to dress like a toddler to turn on your husband, what kind of man is turned on by a grown woman coming out with pigtails and a pacifier in her mouth? That's sick. That's sick. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm religious. Maybe I'm religious. But it is the result of a void. And one of the things, and the reason that it leads to divorce is because when you think something is going to fill a void, you think that marriage and kids and money is going to fill a void. When you go out here, you will put a lot of energy, money, time, blood, sweat, and tears. You will make a lot of sacrifices for that. So it becomes valuable to you. Once you get it, you're going to feel robbed. Thank you, Sister Shauna. God bless you, sis. You're going to feel robbed. Once you get married, you're going to feel robbed. That's why a lot of women are contentious in marriage. We won't talk about that shortly. But a lot of women become contentious because you go to realizing, I'm not happy. You weren't happy before you got with him. You were supposed to be happy on your own. Did you know that? You were supposed to find peace. You're supposed to like your own company. You're supposed to be up in the room by yourself laughing or what have you. You should have mastered that thing called being alone. Because if you're still feeling lonely, you have not mastered it yet. You don't know how to have your company with yourself. You don't know how to have company with yourself. It's a void. Then you end up in a marriage because you think, finally, I have everything. He'll be my best friend. No, he's a whole individual with his own personality and his own opinion. And you know what? He gonna have things that he want to do that he was doing before he married you. Because I need you to stop thinking that what marriage is gonna look like is him laying in the bed with you all day long and telling you how pretty your eyes is and pulling on your bottom lip and kissing you passionately and then making love to you until your wig falls off. That's not what that is, sis. Let me give you a little bit of revelation. He gonna go play the video game or whatever his thing is. Back in the day when I was growing up, when video games weren't a thing, because they didn't start coming out till I was like a teenager. But when video games weren't a thing, cars were. Cars were. Why do y'all think that women started damaging men cars? That it came from my era, probably from before, because the dude used to be out there with that water hose. They would wash this thing. You just washed that car yesterday, bro. They would be out there washing the stink out their car, shining the wheels up. They were just cleaning the crap out of the car. So you know what the women did when they got mad? They would put bleach in the tank, pour bleach in the car, put sugar in the tank. Well, sugar in the tank, pour bleach in the car, scratch the car. Women still do that to this day, but that's kind of an outdated measure. It's outdated because now you got video games. Thank you, Star Daughter of Zion. God bless you. Now you got video games. And so you got women destroying video games. The problem is you weren't happy before he came into your life. And if you weren't happy before he came in, I'm telling you right now, you're going to be mad. Y'all, I promise you need to listen to me on this. I'm telling you right now. Sis, listen. I know it's almost 200 people on here, but I need you to listen to me. If you think he gonna make you happy, you in for a rude awakening. You know how you feel right now? It's even worse. You have to master your own company. I need you to look. I was trying to look you in your eyes. I need you to hear me when I say this. You have to master your own company because it is possible to be married and lonely. I've been there, and that's the worst type of loneliness because you're mad because somebody in the other room, or sometimes in the same room as you, and you're still lonely. Let's go somewhere. We went somewhere yesterday. What you doing? Just working on something. He ain't gonna want to. Man, Hollywood have y'all messed up out here. Hollywood got you thinking that he gonna want to come home and he gonna come home from work and he's gonna go in there and take a shower. No, sis, he gonna come home. He ain't gonna take no shower. Hollywood got you thinking he gonna be shining up in the. No, he gonna get the married man's belly. He gonna go get in the shower. And I'm not saying this for all guys. I'm just saying this is something that he gonna go get in. He gonna go. He gonna come home. He gonna plop his tail. He gonna go in the bathroom, take a crap, or something like that. What? He gonna go in the refrigerator looking for food. He don't want to fool with you. You gotta master your own company. You gotta master your own company. He gonna want to go find something else to do. He gonna want to do what he was doing in his mama's house, in his own house, or whatever. That means he gonna want to go watch TV. He gonna want to watch the game. He ain't gonna want to, because I'm brothers. I know this may be something that's going over your head, but I'm dealing with the fantasy of a woman. The fantasy. Thank you, Sister Tiana. God bless you, sis. The fantasy of a woman that destroys marriages. Trust me, I'm getting your wives ready. It's the fantasy that destroys marriages. It's the fantasy because she gets in that marriage and she's all excited. Yay! All right. And the honeymoon stage is deceptive because in the honeymoon stage, he does all that stuff. In the honeymoon stage, all y'all do is you lay in the bed all day and sleep together, and then you go out and get something to eat, and you come back and get in the bed, and you want round 5, round 6, round 7, and the honeymoon stage. And then after a while, we talking about sex, so I can tell you, after a while, bro, man, ain't gonna want to keep having. Okay, because some of y'all don't know, and I be wanting. Men can get sore from having too much sex. That's if you still got walls left. Thank you, Shine Bright. God bless you. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. It's the result of a void. You will never be able, before I move out of there, let me just say this. You will never be able to fill that void with a man. A man can't fill that void. He just can't. You can try all day long. You can go out here, you can go get you a career, all of these things. I've had the void fillers and none of them worked. That void is a God-sized void. Only God can fill it. It's a God-sized void. Only God can fill it. Number 3, it's a generational curse. Fornication, promiscuity, generational curses. 9 times out of 10, it runs in your family. It's an attempt to pacify the spirit of rejection. That's what I should have put there. It's an attempt to pacify the spirit of rejection. Is your attempt to get somebody to accept you who God honestly wanted to reject you. That's the beautiful part of it. God is wise. He is all knowing. He understands that if I had done right, I wouldn't have been in nobody's courthouse talking about I do. If I had done right, if I wasn't somewhere trying to roll in a circle, I would have saved myself the heartache, the trauma, the years of healing that I had to get. It's an attempt. It's generational. 9 times out of 10, it runs in your family. And if you don't end it with you, you can sit there because this is, oh God, ladies, we had it bad in the Black community where a mother would go and have a baby at the age of 16 and beat the brakes off of her 16-year-old daughter because she found out she having sex. She repeating what you did. She repeated what you did. I remember having a friend, and she was like, she had her daughter when she was 14, and her daughter had managed to get to 17 and got pregnant. And my friend, she was mad. She was like, Tiffany, I can't believe she's out there having sex. And I'm like, well, at least she gave you 3 more years than you gave your mama. She gave you 3 more years than you gave your mama. It's a curse. When your daughter see you having sex, you need to hear this. Your daughter will repeat that cycle 9 times out of 10 because you're telling her this is the only way to get a man. My brain ain't strong enough. My God ain't wise enough. You're telling her that she needs to put her back into it. You telling her that she needs to put her back into it. And guess what? She gonna put her back into it. She gonna put her back into it. Be coming home with you and acting up and stuff like that. And you wondering why she being rebellious? Because you were out there doing your thing. And she never got a chance to see an example of somebody who said, you want me, you're going to have to want me for me. Like, you're going to have to love my spirit. You're going to have to want to get to know me. She's never seen an example of that. And if she's never seen an example of that, how is it that you can think that she gonna know anything? Because that's the very definition of a curse. It's just repeating what you've seen. It's the same. It's just cycles. It's going around the mountain. That's all. It's just going in circles. It's the definition of a curse. If you're limited to nothing but sweet peas and sweet potatoes or what have you, you cannot expect your children to eat caviar. They're going to eat what they have access to. It's the same thing with revelation. Children will eat the revelation that you give them. If they don't have access to wisdom, then they're not going to be wise. If they don't have access to wisdom, they won't be wise. So if you want your daughters to be abstinent, to love themselves, you first have to do it. You got to demonstrate. You got to show them. And because as long as they see mommy out there trying to get a man and mommy doing all the stuff that she thinks is necessary to get a man, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to do the same thing because they're going to think that this is the only way. And then, you know what? They won't understand. And it's really needed. I'm going to move on to number 4. But they won't understand. And I'm going to say this with my whole chest. They do not need a man. I've let it marinate. Not to let the people get like, oh, because I know some people are like, wait, hold up. Thought we were helpmeets. You are more than just a helpmeet. You have purpose. Individual purpose outside of a man. As a matter of fact, you can't even be a helpmeet until you discover that purpose. Until you come into the end of yourself, the beginning of God, and you get to the realization of who you are, not just who you are, but who He is first. And then He gives you a revelation of who you are. And that's when you can come into a relationship and you won't need a man. That's what makes you powerful. You can want one. You don't need them. Women who need a man find themselves constantly going from relationship to relationship because every man who is needed will get up and walk away. Every man who is wanted, he understands the power and the privilege of you being in my life, just like she understands the power and privilege of him being in her life. And whenever you want somebody, it makes the marriage and the sex so much better. I say it. I don't want somebody there with me because he needs to be there. You know how many women I've counseled who stick with men because they need the dude. Well, if he leave, I don't know how to pay these bills. I don't know what I'm gonna do if he walks away. Baby, go find your God. Stop making a God out of him. Stop making a God out of somebody who can't control himself. Go and put God in his space. Give yourself wholly over to the Most High God. Let him be your number one and your everything. And then when you get into a relationship, when you get married, I'm a privilege. Not somebody you come in a relationship with because, this old stinky word of partnership. I'm not looking to be a business partner with my husband in a marriage. Now, I understand the concept of a partnership because marriage does have some partnership undertones. But a lot of times when people talk about that, you got to be careful because a lot of times when they say it, they're talking about basically you do your part and I do mine. You get 50, it's 50-50. You didn't do this or what have you. That's really toxic. Really toxic. It's a generational curse. If you don't break it, if you don't end it, your daughters will 9 times out of 10 fall out. And I want you to look at her. I want you to look at that little beautiful little baby girl running around in a diaper and ask yourself, do you want her to be 14 years from now out here rolling in a circle for some dude? Trying to hoping that he gonna love her. And he ain't. All right. Number 4. It's a form of idolatry. It's a form of idolatry. Matter of fact, it is idolatry. It's idolatry. It's a form of idolatry. It's an extension. It's a branch of idolatry. It's you putting yourself that man or whatever it is that you want before God, anything that comes before God is an idol. It's a form of idolatry. And anytime you have an idol, idols have to be destroyed. Idols have to be destroyed. Why do you think a lot of marriages? Okay, this movie that I cut on today, I've only watched like 15 minutes of it, but the woman in the movie, she's complaining because she was unsaved when she married her husband. Husband was unsaved. Now she done got saved and she want to serve the Lord and he don't. And now she's mad or what have you at her husband because he won't serve God. And so now they got a very contentious marriage. And she's just going out of the will of God. She was outside the will of God then, and she's outside the will of God now because she's trying to control her husband, trying to force him into a relationship with God. And anytime you force a person into a relationship with God, the relationship won't be real because they're not there because they want to be there. They're only there because you made them be there, so they become religious. It's no different than when your mama made you go to church. Did you really love the Lord? No, you didn't. You didn't. You went to church because mama told you to. You went to church because you knew you were going to get a whooping when you got home. You knew, but it's a form of idolatry. And now that she has gotten saved, she's putting her husband on punishment. And whenever you're dealing with idolatry, it's just you putting another God in place in an attempt to fill a void. And like I told you before, it sets you up for divorce because then you're going to realize that this God doesn't have the ability to fill that God-sized void in your heart. Then you're going to get mad at him as if he did something wrong because he is proving himself to be he's proven himself to be mortal. He's proven himself to be carnal. Let's move on to number 5 because I got so much more to teach you guys. Is an attempt to override God's word. Somebody needed to hear that. It's an attempt to override God's word. If it's not a partnership, it's oneness. Oneness. Partnership, typically, when you hear that word partnership, a lot of times it comes with the undertones of expectation, financial expectation. It's becoming more of a corporate. It's taking the intimacy out of it. It's taking the intimacy out of it, and it's making like a roommate thing. All right, moving on. Number 5, again, it's an attempt to override God's word. I know when I was in it, for whatever reason, it's not something that you communicate out loud, but I thought I was exempt. And it's not even just an attempt to override God's word. It's also an attempt to manipulate God. It's an attempt to manipulate God. And I'm going to move on to number 6 because they're connected. It's an attempt to hijack your own season, your next season. It's like, okay, I know that I'm supposed to go to the 12th grade, at some point, but I'm in the 3rd grade now. I don't want to go through grade 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I want to go straight to grade 12. And so since I want to go straight to grade 12, I'm going to hijack it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to falsify some documents. I'm going to try to make it look like I'm just a short teenager. And then I'm going to show up in school in 12th grade. But the problem is I'm missing grades 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, which means there's revelation I didn't get, wisdom I didn't get, knowledge I don't have, which will cause me to consequently fail. There are steps that you have to go through before you're ready for marriage. There are steps that you have to go through before you are ready for marriage. If you don't go through those steps, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to the women. You are the weaker vessel. You hear me when I tell you this. What's going to happen is you're going to put a lot of pressure on your husband because you're going to expect him to be your everything. You're going to expect him to know how to fix everything. You're going to want him to come home and make you happy because you've never learned how to make yourself happy. You skipped that step. You went from the 3rd grade to the 12th grade. You skipped the step on how to pray, how to have an encounter with God. You skipped the step on how to cast out devils. You skipped the step of self-control. You skipped the step of overcoming loneliness and finding purposes, coming into you. You skipped so many steps. And what you did was you disguised yourself as a wife and you went straight into marriage. And now those steps that you needed, you find that you need that you really need them. And now you start putting the pressure on your husband and you try to blame him. And the court system sides with you because you're a female. The court system will make you believe that you are a victim. Consequently, you will spend the rest of your life being a victim. And I'm giving you mathematics. I'm going to tell you this. Victims naturally, instinctively, and spiritually attract predators. Prey attract predators. Natural prey drive. If you are a prey, you attract a predator. I get bunny rabbits that come out of my yard, squirrels that come out into my yard. You know what they do? Now the bunny rabbits, they stand still. In the grass, they stand still. When they see me and my dog come out, they stand still. Because the rabbit knows, hey, I can probably get away from him, but I don't want to activate his prey drive. Because as soon as that bunny rabbit takes off, the dog's not even really thinking. It's just activated. It's just activated. It's your attempt to hijack your next season, a season you're not ready for. And get this, when you try to hijack the next season, which is a season you're not ready for, then what ends up happening is you end up with the wrong person. And you know what? I can say this. I think the Most High God for letting me mess up with the wrong guys. For letting me, because I would have hated to not be ready and came in contact with the right guy and that marriage ended. Wouldn't want that. I thank God. Now, I'm not saying that God gave me these guys as practice. I'm just saying they ended up being practice. It ended up being practice, and I had to learn a lot of lessons. It's an attempt of yours to hijack your next season. It's an attempt of yours to move into your next season. When you go into the next season, you're not authorized. God is not going to form a partnership with you because you skipped all these seasons to go over there. So you're on your own. And when you're on your own, then you are subject to the law of work. So you end up doing all the stuff that you think is right to attract the guy, rather than whenever God decides you're a wife and God decides you're ready, you realize I ain't got to give it up. All I got to do is love the Lord and be myself. That's it. If a dude get away from me because he doesn't like me, he did not do anything wrong. Because at the end of the day, I may not be for him. We got to stop looking at these houses, dimples, and cars and being like, but he got to work out. All right, we're going to move on, guys, because I got some more stuff to teach y'all. And then I'm going to let y'all go so I can go get my after church nap. Again, yes, that's right. Prey attracts predators. Prey attracts predators. If you are prey, if you're a victim, you will constantly keep attracting predatory people. And you'll spend the rest of your life, then you become one of those women. These men out here ain't no good. You just spoke that curse over yourself. I would never say that. I would never say that men are no good. I say there are good men and there are bad men out there. But if I want a good guy, if I want somebody who loves and fears the Lord, I need to love and fear the Lord. I'm going to attract what I am. Thank you, Sister Katz. God bless you. I'm going to attract what I am. And, at the same time, it's not to say that everybody that comes to me will be good, because there's a possibility that somebody who's not good will come up to me. But because I'm shining or radiating the light of God, I will drive him away from me through my obedience to God, through my fear in God. And God will protect me as long as I'm in his will. I hear him clearly. As long as I'm in his will, I'll hear him say, that's not for you. And all I have to do is obey. All I have to do is obey. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about adultery. Like I said, now this one, every last one of you know somebody who's going through an adulterous relationship. I'm going to give you guys some wisdom about adultery and some stuff about the other female and the other male. I think it's going to really be helpful and it's going to bless your life. And like I said, share this with somebody. You can tell them, hey, it starts at this particular point, or what have you. I believe that this is going to save marriages, or give you revelation, or even help, if to go through whatever you need to go through, whether that be you guys reconciling, or whether it be reconciliation, or whatever the case may be. All right, adultery. Adultery, number one, is the natural equivalent of idolatry. It's the natural equivalent of idolatry. It's a form of idolatry. Idolatry, when God speaks about idolatry, when he will rebuke Israel, he will say, you played the whore. You played the whore. So God, metaphorically, is like our husband, right? Whether you're female or male. Whenever you worship another God, you're whoring yourself out to another guy. It's the same thing in marriage when it comes to adultery. Your spouse has a reasonable expectation for you to be faithful to them. It's not only going to protect their mental health, but it protects them physically. because there are sexually transmitted diseases. I think it also protects them financially, because babies do come out of affairs. Babies do come out of affairs, and don't child support ain't no joke. Man of God, whoever you may be, the man of God, I pray you ain't got no kids. Jesus, if you do, I pray they're old enough, because I am not trying to be paying nobody no child support. All right. It's the natural equivalent of idolatry. It's a form of idolatry, and this is adultery. Anytime if a husband or a wife is committing adultery against a spouse, their sin is not first against the spouse, it's first against God. Their sin is first against God. Is them exalting themselves over God. There is something that they want. And most of the times when you see adultery, it's a void filler, but most of the times people are chasing power. They're chasing power. So it needs to be understood that your sin is first against God. It's not just against the spouse. This is the reason why, to the spouses, whenever you're dealing with an adulterous spouse, one of the things that you have to do, now, first and foremost, you got to protect yourself. But secondly, don't run yourself crazy, screaming and crying and fighting with the person, because at the end of the day, the battle is not yours, it's the Lord's. The battle, it does not belong to you. One of the things you'll learn about a cheater is that screaming at him, checking his phone, calling his mistress or calling her Mr. or what have you, that ain't gonna stop them from cheating. It just makes them better at it. Just scratch my head while I give you time to ponder that. It doesn't stop them from cheating. It just makes them better at it. Because at the end of the day, if somebody makes it up in their mind that they're going to cheat, that's what they're going to do. If they make it up in their mind that they want to sleep with somebody else, that's what they're going to do. What happens is, I had to come to understand this. Relationships are a continual signing of contracts of sorts. So if I'm in a relationship, imagine this is a ball. If I'm in a relationship, if I'm married to a guy, we already communicated, before we got married. Hey, no adultery. I don't like this adultery thing. All that. We already communicated that stuff. If I get married to him, he puts the ball in my court. He rolls the ball in my court. If he cheats, it's in my court. Now, I can go and I can talk to him and say, hey, that wasn't cool. That really hurts. Now, I don't know if I can be with you at this point. We're going to have to get counseling. What have you. Because most of the time, if a guy cheats, he's going to say, oh, it was a mistake. It was an accident. I don't know how. You fell down on top of her? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Counseling, I need you to change your phone number. And that's if you decide to stay, right? That's, not saying that that's if you decide to stay. That's the ball rolling in my court. I just gave him an option. Now it's in his court. And I want you to understand, it's a constant going back and forward. It's a constant. It's in his court. Are you going to do the counseling? Are you going to, well, I'll do the counseling, but I'm not changing my phone number. I'm not going to stay in this marriage with you. If this girl has your phone number, I'll tell her stop. No. 50% of the times, no, I take that back. About 60%, 65, maybe even 70% of guys are going to say no to changing their number. And if he says no to changing his number, it's because he plans to continue cheating. He has a soul tie with this woman. He's not looking to walk away. And then at the same time, there is a level of fear there that maybe she will tell you something that he hasn't told you. So he fears, if I leave her entirely alone, she's going to come tell you some stuff. Maybe she's pregnant. Maybe they got a love child. Maybe he said some stuff about you. That's the fear. And so the thing about it is, once that ball comes in my court, if he says, I'm not changing my phone number, I have a decision to make. I can decide I'm staying here, or I can decide, no, this is not an option. And I have to give you some hard instruction. When you're married, there has to be hard instructions in cases like that. I mean, if you're not comfortable, I don't want her. And another reason that a lot of times a guy will say, and women too, they refuse to change their number, is because they know that they're going to continue talking to that person. And if that person calls their phone, they can say, well, I didn't know. But if the person calls a new number, they're still talking to them. It's still an attempt to cover up. And so in a case like that, the ball rolls back in my court. I said, you're obviously not married. You're not ready for marriage yet. All right. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, I wish you the best. I wish you the best. Now, what is he gonna do? 9 times out of 10, he don't believe me. 9 times out of 10, he don't believe me. He don't believe me. He think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave for a couple of days. I'm gonna be mad at him. That's gonna give him time to kind of air out his thing with the girl. And no, at the end of the day, if I make it up in my mind, because you don't do that as a manipulation tactic. If I make it up in my mind, no, I'm not taking this. This is not an option at all. Period. Point blank. Period. Point blank. You have to make a hard decision that you really want to be married. And if you don't want to be married, then don't waste my time. In many cases, he'll come, at some point, he'll be like, hey, I want my family, and yeah, I'm willing to do this and I'm willing to do that, or what have you. But it's a natural equivalent of idolatry. Number two, it's an attempt to satisfy an unquenchable void in a very hungry demon. It's an attempt to satisfy an unquenchable void in a very hungry demon. Demons cannot and will never be satisfied. Imagine if we didn't have the limitation called the stomach, and that neuron that fired that told our brains that we were full. Imagine if we didn't have that. Imagine if we had the hunger and we had the taste buds, but we didn't have anything to tell us that we were full. That's very similar to goldfish. Goldfish don't have that mechanism to tell them. That's why you have to put very small amounts of food, because the goldfish will keep eating until they burst. I found that out by killing it. I killed some goldfish in my uncle's house before. I didn't know, felt bad for them, because I was like, you hardly ever give them any food. It's just like a little bit, they just be all hungry. I woke up early in the morning, go up in there, I'm going to feed the goldfish. Here you go, little fishies. Kill them fish. Overfed them. They can't handle that. That's how demons are. Demons don't have a stomach or a neuron that says you're full. They don't have a stomach. They are a consumer of souls. They don't have a stomach. And so when you're dealing with somebody who is having an affair, that person is simply creating a soul tower. It's a collector of souls. It's all about, it's spiritual, guys. Your war is not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and the rulers of this dark world and spiritual wickedness in high places. But it is an attempt to satisfy an unquenchable void and a very hungry demon. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unless that person goes through deliverance, they're going to go back out there and do it again. When adultery enters a marriage, there's two things that have to happen before you should even consider reconciliation. There are two things: therapy and deliverance. Therapy, because that void is not going to be. The big mistake that most of us make is that what we do me a favor, guys, like and share, because a lot of the folks who are not married, they're just kind of leaving out now. They're like, well, yeah, that was nice. Do me a favor, like and share, because there's some married people and people that are going to get married who need to hear this message. If you're going to get married, you plan to get married, this is something that you need to know before you get married. But it's an attempt to, it is an attempt to satisfy an unquenchable void in a very hungry demon. Demons don't have the mechanism to tell them that they're full. And the mistake that a lot of people make, especially women, a lot of women make this mistake of call her on the phone. Not did this before. Call her. Tell her that it's over with. And you know what the dude to do? First he'll fight it, and then, if he get desperate enough, hey, why you standing there? I can't mess with you no more. Yeah, me and my wife talk. Y'all, I used to have adulteresses for friends. One in particular, I remember 2 or 3 conversations that happened like that. Literally, I can remember at minimum 2 conversations where a man called her with his girl in the background. And he had her on the phone. This was one of the friend I used to rebuke. I used to fuss at her all the time because she was gorgeous. She just didn't have the self-esteem. And I remember two occasions because we were at work and she worked in the same department and I answered the phone. Two occasions where the guy called her with his girl and the girl sitting there and he says, I can't mess with you no more. And the woman will sit there and say, tell her what you told me. I told her you a hoe. Everybody hit that with you. You ain't special. And she's sitting there looking like, oh, you weren't calling me no hoe, and you know, what have you. But that same guy, it has to be understood, will reach right back out to her. Hey, I'm sorry. I just said that because she was around. You standing in the room with him and making him call the girl ain't gonna make him leave her alone. Been there, done that. It ain't gonna make him leave her alone. He gonna call her. He gonna call her back. There's a soul tie there. There's a void there. There's a need for power. There is so much there that you are unaware of. He's not going to leave her alone. The only way he's going to leave her alone is that if he comes to a place of repentance, not if you bully him. He has to come to that personal, man, I messed up. God, I'm sorry. I know my sin was against you. Not only was it against my wife, but it was first and foremost against you. Lord, help me in the name of Jesus. Deliver me. God, I'll make whatever I do. It has to be first between him and God. It has to be first between him and God. Then it has to be with you. Once it's with you, you guys have to go through counseling. And then there has to be some deliverance. There has to be some deliverance. If not, he just going to tell you, hey, I ain't going to do it no more. Yes, and he will do it with tears in his eyes. He will do it, baby. I just want my family. But please, baby, please. I want my family. I can't lose you. I can't lose you. Is that love that make him do that? No. He just, like he said, doesn't want to lose you. You're a safety. There's a lot there. There may be a measure of love there, but his love has not been matured yet. He doesn't have enough love to love himself, nor does he have enough love to love you. Let's move on to number 3. It causes a man's prayers to be hindered. Adultery for the men. I'm going to read the scripture. This is for the guys when a guy does it. 1 Peter 3:7. I will read the English Standard Version. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. I'm about to go somewhere, y'all. I need y'all to like and share this because I'm about to go somewhere that needs to be heard. I got to say it. I'll read that again before I go there. I'll give you guys a chance to like and share. Do me a favor, like and share, guys. Like and share. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. You got to honor her as the weaker vessel. You got to stop trying to make her into your mommy. That's 1 Peter 3:7. You got to stop trying to make her into your mommy. Because mommy was the stronger vessel for you because you were her underling. You were her child. But you got to hear me on this. To my brothers who want to get married, don't turn her into mama. I know we like to do that, mommy. Come on, mommy. I'm going to say this because I see this on TikTok a lot. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it. I need y'all to share. One of the things that has been normalized or being normalized that's actually trending in the African American community is there are ignorant black males who go and they will post up a TikTok about them not dating black women. And I sit there and, they talk about women, black women are aggressive, black women are domineering, black women are this, black women are that. And I'm like, you are so ignorant if you don't understand. You're so ignorant. Bro, you got a control problem. That's it. That's the issue. I don't care who you date. Personally, I don't care what color my husband is, right? Whatever color he come in, God, I bless your name. I already got prophetic word about him, so I know what color he is. Um, anyhow, but this is something that needs to be understood, and and this is to the broken black males. We got some respectable ones, thank God, but there are some broken ones who have that mentality. I have no problem with you marrying who you want to marry. That has you if you marry a white woman, a Latino woman, y'all fall in love. Hey, don't you worry about what nobody say. You hear me? You do your thing, because whoever you fall in love with, if it's real. But when you go out there and specifically say I don't date black people, that's when you have a problem, because you're not giving love an opportunity. Now, hear this. When I hear these type of guys saying I don't date black women, they're aggressive, they're manipulative, they're domineering, I think to myself of a child who broke his toy, but now he wants to play with somebody else's. Somebody caught it, somebody didn't. I'll let it marinate. I think of a man, I think of somebody who went out, got women, you broke her, you turned her into mama, you made her domineering, you made her controlling, you made her like that because that's the only way you were there. And now that your toy is broken, you want to go play with somebody else's toy. And men who think like that, oh, come for me. Men who think like that, you're the same ones that go into the white race and turn their women into single mothers. You do the same thing in the white race that you did in the black race. In the black race, you were spreading your seed around. You broke a lot of women. You were in child support court because you weren't doing right. And then you go over there to the next race and you turn them into single mothers. You don't marry them. You don't commit. You turn them into single mothers. And the ones that you do commit to, you don't know how. And I'm not talking to guys dating, because I don't care about dating outside the race. I'm talking about the ones with that mindset. The ones who do commit, you make your wife feel so insecure as a white female that you make her go over to she starts to have to act like, oh, and I hate to say act like a black woman, but I'm talking about culturally, things that we do culturally. You make her insecure in her skin. You're not a good person. I cannot criticize, ridicule, or crap on black men because I've had bad black men. I had bad black men because I was a bad black woman. And until you take accountability, man, y'all, I'm sorry. There are some great black guys out there. And to my brothers, hear me when I say you got my backup. I don't care who you date. I want you to hear me when I say this. To my brothers out here, y'all, the ones you got your heart together, you ready for your wife, you loving on the Lord. Hey, if you find your wife in a white woman, a Latino woman, we all a part of the human race. There is nothing wrong with that. So don't you let nobody make you feel bad about that. Wherever you find love, that's where you find love. My issue is the ones that feel like they have to crap on the African American race before they make their exit. They have to sit back and say, I don't date black women. When I hear a guy like that, to my white sisters, hear me, don't date those. If you come across a black guy, and listen, if y'all fall in love, sis, go for it. If it's a good dude, but sis, if he say I don't date black women, run, girl. Because what he did was he broke the ones he had. He broke the ones he had. He came across some that were immature. He broke the ones he had. And once he got done breaking them, now he over there complaining because he don't like what a broken woman looks like. Now he come over into the white race and he started breaking the women over there. Yeah. All right. It causes a man's prayers to be hindered. Let's go back to that scripture. Go back to it. I don't know where I did. All right. Thank you for everybody who sowed a seed. God bless y'all. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. A woman has to feel safe. I learned this. A woman has to feel safe. You have to show honor to her as the weaker vessel. She can't be mommy. If you show honor to her as a weaker vessel, this is the reason why women are so attracted to the older, the guy chopping the cotton, chopping the tree down, or what have you, who says, "Put the water down. I got that. Don't you? You better not push that couch. You better not." I said I'm moving the furniture around. I better not ever catch you with your hands on it. Thank you, Sister Katrina. God bless you. Take your hands off that, girl. No, I got this. Women appreciate that because it makes us feel like we don't have to use that strength. A woman should not have to be that strong. A woman shouldn't have to be that strong. A woman has to feel safe enough to be weak. She's strong with it. She's naturally strong, instinctively strong, spiritually strong if she gives herself over to God, right? But a woman needs the safety to be weak. She needs the safety to be soft. And even your most aggressive Black woman, white woman, Latina woman, because they're aggressive women in every race, can turn into a soft ball of cotton candy if she comes in contact with a man who's strong enough. A man who's strong enough to carry her. A man who's strong enough to cover her. I don't want to say carry, but to cover her. To cover her. Where she can feel safe. And I'm going to tell you something. This is what I learned. I've been single 7 years. Abstinent 7 years. I have not missed. Thank you, Sister Farada. God bless you, sis. Thank you for Sister Farada. God bless you, sis. I haven't dated in those 7 years. I have had the opportunity to be safe enough to be Tiffany. And in this time, I got so many things coming out of me, so much wisdom. Listen, y'all, I haven't told y'all yet. I got 10 card games. I had 2. I got 10 card games about to come out. 10. You know why? Because I feel safe. I'm safe enough to be Tiffany. I'm safe enough. I ain't got nobody in my house that I'm stressing out over. I realized that I genuinely, wholeheartedly realized that what God placed on the inside of a woman, honestly, that's a key to wealth. I kid you not. If a woman feels safe and covered, a woman will take you to a wealthy place. A lot of women on here have never got to that place. Now, I want you to hear me, brothers, on this. Don't get a broken woman and then try to make her feel safe. Because a broken woman will unpack her brokenness in a space of safety. She has to get into a relationship with God and give herself over to God. Because a broken woman, I said this on the other one that I took down. Women complain about men. Like a woman will go out, guys, y'all have asked why do women go out here? They get a really good guy, and they dog him, and they go get them this guy who dogs them, and they hold on to him. The reason that a woman is faithful to a broken man is because she's not safe. She's always on the tip of her toes. He keeps her on the run. She don't have time to try to be out there. And then at the same time, she know he'll get her back. But when you get a female like that, that's been broken, that same female would cheat on a good man. That same female that was faithful to that dog and chased up behind him, cried over him, tried to commit suicide, gave him 17 babies trying to get him to act right. She get with a good man, she'll cheat on him. And the reason she'll cheat on him is because he will make her feel safe. And when she starts feeling safe, she's going to start vomiting out all that crap that's in her. She doesn't understand safety. She don't know what to do with that safety. And when she doesn't have all of that stuff going on, let me tell you what she says. I'm bored. She's bored because she's used to her adrenaline going through the roof. She's bored because she's used to being stressed out and crying and all that. And so when her adrenaline gets to a place of normality, when she gets to that space of, oh my goodness, she get bored. And then what she's going to do, she's going to feel safe enough to unpack her dysfunction. And she's going to go out there and cheat on you. You know who she's going to cheat on you for? The one who cheats on her. So get somebody who's already in a place with who loves the Lord and who's surrendered to God. Get somebody who's surrendered to God. And when you get with somebody who's surrendered to God and she feels safe enough to be herself with God, then you can bring her into a place of safety. Thank you. Seek truth in this way, guys. It's the way. I mean, seek truth this way. God bless you. Thank you. Then you get her to a place and she will feel safe. Don't take her out of dysfunction and try to make her feel safe. I know these movies out here, they show you these women and they be like, no. And you're just going to leave me like everybody else. You better walk away. That girl is not healthy and neither is she whole. She doesn't know her potential. Potential is a two-sided coin. She doesn't know what's on the inside of her yet. Because she hasn't allowed herself to heal. She's made an idol out of men. She's run from this relationship to that relationship, and she's hurt because she wants somebody to love her, because she has a void, and she thinks that if somebody loves her and somebody's faithful to her, that she'll be happy. That's not the truth. She doesn't understand that. So if you take her and you make her feel safe and you cover her up and you bring her in the house and you go to work and you come home and you take care of the kids, you're going to be boring her. You're going to be boring. You're going to be boring. But if you find somebody who is safe in Christ, that's a wife, that's surrendered to God, who will not allow you to violate her safety, you can be safe with her. You'll be safe with her. Because when she has that space and time where it's just peace, she ain't going to make war. Women who are accustomed to war, whenever you take them into a place of peace, they're not used to it. They're not used to it. That's why, like women reach out to me and they in a contentious marriage. Can I come live with you? No, because you're not accustomed to peace. My house is a house of peace. When you get somebody like that, I understand that as a female. If I got relatives, if I sit back and I say, hey, yeah, you come out of that toxic marriage and you come live with me, you know what they're going to come in my house with? They're not used to it. They're not used to this quietness. Hear that? They're not accustomed to that. What they'll do is they'll start throwing out fights. They'll start making up things to fight about. They'll make up things to fight about because they're not used to quietness. They need noise. They need noise. All right, let's move on. Okay, yeah. I want to make sure I emphasize this from number 3 before I move on. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as a weaker vessel. We place emphasis on that. And since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers not be hindered. Your prayers not be hindered. If you mishandle somebody that God has placed you in a position of authority over, your prayers are hindered. Which means that you can end up having an impoverished household, having a whole lot of dysfunction in your household simply because you are mishandling your wife. Like I said, for those of you, you got friend girls that are married, friend guys that are married, relatives, and they need to hear this. Send this video to them because it's going to really help their lives. Number 4, adultery is Satan's attempt to uncover the family so he can divide and carry out his purpose with each individual. Adultery is Satan's attempt to uncover the family so that he can divide them, so he can carry out his purpose with each individual. What that means is the family unit where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, in God's name. Now, this is why you got to get married to somebody who's saved, and you're supposed to gather in God's name. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he is in the midst. So there are marriages that God is not in the midst of. Did y'all know that? I know you probably can say, well, yeah, I kind of knew it, but I never really thought about it that way. God's not in the midst of it. If you're unequally yoked with an unbeliever, God's not in the midst of it. Now, you can bring God in the midst of that relationship, but it does not change the person by you submitting yourself over to God fully. And that's not going to be easy because a lot of people think, well, yeah, I'll bring God in the midst of us. Sister Tiffany, thank you. I was looking for confirmation as to whether or not to marry my unsaved boyfriend. Baby girl, you're going to go through hell and high water. You will go through hell and high water, and God will be right there in the midst watching you go through that hell and high water. So please understand that. So let's go ahead and move on. What was it? It's Satan's attempt to uncover the family. He wants to uncover, because let's say if the male is out there and he cheating or what have you, one thing that he doesn't understand is that the seductor is the female, and even though he may be the seductor himself, that person is designed by Satan to distract him while Satan attacks his family. Is to get him like, ooh, shake it, mama, shake it. While Satan back there attacking his family, he's supposed to be the head of his home. He's supposed to be the coverer, the protector, the provider of his home. But because the head is turned, I need you to hear me. Because the head is turned, because the attention is somewhere else, Satan starts attacking the home. Now, when the Satan starts attacking the home, the main thing he's going to attack is the second head of that family, which is wife. He's going to start driving her mad, which is why women, the weaker vessel, are already emotional creatures, but he begins to attack the mind of the woman. When a woman doesn't have a proper covering, you can tell because she's just angry, stressed, complaining, whining. Because the head of the family, Christ is the head of man, Christ is the head of man, man is the head of woman. That's in your Bible. But if the man goes into adultery, he's not submitting to Christ's head. And so therefore he comes from under the head of Christ, which means he goes under another authority, which is a demonic authority. And while he's distracted by that demon, Satan is behind him attacking the wife. But how can you plunder a home or plunder the goods of a home? How does that say it? I know that by heart. I promise you I do. How can you plunder his home unless you bind a strong man? I think that's it. Let me see. How can you plunder his goods? I think. Plunder his goods. Unless you first bind a strong man. Yeah, plunder his goods. Okay, here we go. Matthew 12:39. Or how can, this is English Standard Version, or how can someone enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods unless he first binds a strong man? The husband is the strong man of his house. So the Satan has to bring the strong man into bondage. He got to bring you into captivity. And then he plunders your goods. What are your goods? Your wife, your children, your wealth. Your wife, your children, your wealth. So Satan gets your attention. This is what he does to the male. And to the female, he gets the attention and he binds you up. And he has you over there looking, getting lap dances from a seductress, which biblically speaking also means witch, while the enemy is attacking your family. The enemy is attacking your family. Until he refused counsel after sitting with pastor. Anytime a guy refuses counsel, that's typically a sign that he's not going to change. And the ball goes into your court then. It goes into your court. You have to make a decision. You have to ask yourself, can I live with him like this for the rest of his life? And if the answer is no, then you have to put that boundary there. Sometimes the person can come back and say, hey, I'm ready. But a lot of times some people the relationship, the problem is with God. It's not with you. It's never with you. It's always with God. All right. Again, it's Satan's attempt. This is number 4 for under adultery. Satan's attempt to uncover the family so he can divide it and carry out his purpose with each individual. It causes the children to feel insecure. Children need the security. It causes the wife to be the next line of defense where she begins to fight. Consequently, she starts becoming hard. And she can start becoming the man of the house almost, a little bit more aggressive because now she's having to do all these things. And then it sets her up for the root of bitterness. She starts dealing with their spirit of rejection because even though the man is still there, he's rejecting her. And the children start dealing with rejection as well. And so it's demons now coming into the house and demons laying in the bed with your wife and demons and they are messing with your children while the man is distracted. I'm showing you how this thing ties into the demonic. The reason that Satan uses the seductress or even to the ladies, somebody to seduce you, is so that he can divide the family. Most of the time he has his eyes on your children. Satan thinks in generations. So he has his eyes on your children. Number 5, last one under this one, and then I'm going to tell you a few things about the seductress, and then we're going to move on. I'm going to move through those quick. Number 5, and this is under adultery. Satan attempts to disinherit your children. He seeks to disinherit your children. You have a heritage, and you're supposed to give an inheritance. The heritage, you're supposed to pass a good heritage to your children. So the enemy gets you into bad character, which will corrupt your children, because Evil communication corrupts good manners. Your children are going to have a relationship with you, or they should have a relationship with you. So you corrupt them, and this corruption is called a generational curse. Not only that, the blessings of God, the favor of God, whatever it is that God wanted to give to you, you cannot get it because you're not mature enough to hold it. And whatever you do have is going to be plundered because the other woman is going to end up with children that, or what have you. Now your wealth is going out in all these other different directions. Your money ends up going out in all these different directions or what have you. But what it does is it robs your children of an inheritance. The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. So it robs your children of an inheritance. It robs your children of a good name, and it robs your children of an inheritance. It sets them up for a curse. It sets them up to be broke and within a curse. It sets them up. So that's what adultery does. So I'm going to give you a few things about the other woman, and I'm going to give you a few things about the other guy. Like I said, it wasn't something I wanted to teach on today, but the Lord is good, and I believe in just honoring him. Number one, y'all ready? Facts about the other woman. I'm going to give you 4 of them. Facts about the other woman, and then I'm going to give you facts about the promiscuous husband. Or the other man, the other man. Facts about the other woman. Number 1, y'all ready? She's a witch. Let's see if I can find this. She's a witch. I know somebody on here, you crusty from sleeping with somebody's husband. Yeah. You're going to learn today. I'm going to teach you. But prayerfully you repent. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. See if I can find it. Oh, no, I know what I'm looking for. Okay, I was wrong. Hold up. Give me a second, guys. I love me some y'all. Do me a favor. While you're listening to this, like and share. Like and share. While you're listening, like and share. If you want to sow a seed, sow a seed. Give me a second. I know what I'm looking for. No. Okay, here we go. Wrong one. Give me a second. Like. All right, let me try this. One more. If I don't get it, then I'll just tell y'all. Yeah. Come on, man. Stop it. Thank you, Sister Mary. God bless you, sis. Let me do it this way. I was doing the wrong kind of search. It's in my book, Devil Bait High Heels and Spiritual Warfare. I talk about it in there. But maybe I'm supposed to be looking for the Hebrew word. Okay, anyhow. Here it is. I think, which is a spirit I'm going to come out and teach on real soon. Siren spirit. I got to come teach y'all on that real soon. Thank you, Sister Ashley. God bless you, sis. But the word seductress is also synonymous with adulteress. It actually means witch. It means sorceress. It means sorceress. So I'm just giving proof because I don't want you to think that what we're doing is calling people names, because at the end of the day, it's a soul and God loves the person. But biblically speaking, she's a witch. She's a witch. She's a witch. And we'll deal with the guys as well, ladies, because I know there's always a female on here. But what about these dudes? Oh, God, I love my sisters. And sometimes I be like, okay, we gotta heal, Lord. We gotta heal. Number 2, she envies the wife. These are facts about the other woman. She's driven by covetousness. The other woman rarely, if ever, wants the man. Most of the time, she wants the woman's lifestyle. She rarely, if ever, truly, wholeheartedly wants the man. She may have a degree of fascination with him, a degree of attraction to him, but in all out genuineness, she does not trust him because she sees he's cheating on his wife. She knows he's not worth much of anything, but for the most part, she is envying his wife. She envies his wife. So she's looking at the wife's lifestyle. She's looking at the children. She's looking at the house. She's looking at the car. She's looking at all of that. She wants the wife. I'm going to give you a little revelation. This is why the husband is the head of the home. He's supposed to be the protector. Because what he doesn't realize, and a lot of times when you're dealing with a carnal guy, when you're dealing with a broken guy, what he doesn't realize is she's the very thing he's supposed to be protecting you from. That demon in her is what he's supposed to be covering you from. Because that demon is looking at the female. It wants to remove the head, but that demon, I'm going to prove it. We know the story of Herod, how Herod went and killed off all the children that were 2 years and younger, I think it was. And Pharaoh did the same. Pharaoh went and killed off all the demons. Look at the womb. Demons they are infatuated with women because women represent power. They're looking at the womb. All right. Give me a second. In a second. We're going to Revelations. I just don't know where yet. Give me a moment. Oh gosh. I'll type in gospel of whatever. I don't know what this. Okay. All right. Revelation 12. All right, we're going to start at verse. We're going to go English Standard again. We're going to start at 13. Revelation 12:13. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown down to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. But the woman was given the two wings of the great eagle so that she might fly from the serpent into the wilderness, to the place where she is to be nourished for a time and times and half a time. Flying into the wilderness, she's hidden. Wife's supposed to be hidden. Now, this is symbolic of Christ, the birth of Christ and all that. But it also is relevant for us today. The serpent poured water like a river out of his mouth after the woman to sweep her away with a flood. But the earth came to help of the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed the river that the dragon had poured from his mouth. Then the dragon became furious with the woman and went off to make war on the rest of her offspring and those who keep the commandments of God and hold the testimony of Jesus Christ. Read that another version. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Satan is after what's in your womb. That's why he wants you to be somebody's baby's mama. He wants you to be out here and there's nothing wrong. You got kids, they're beautiful. But I'm saying, prayerfully, you haven't tied your tubes, all that other stuff. You can wait on your husband. Don't go out here and be sleeping around. Wait on your husband. Wait for God to bring the right one. So I'm going to read this in the King James Version. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. And to the woman were given two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Who got blessed? Who's being blessed by that? Let me know. If you got blessed by that, let me know. Did you get blessed by that? I want you to understand. I want to show you a picture where that God gave me. this is what's happening to the men of God. What the enemy wants to do with the seductress, that's that protector provider. A lot of times we think protector provider, you're thinking natural, but the war is not against flesh and blood. It's against powers and principalities and the rulers of this dark world and spiritual wickedness in high places. So the goal of the enemy is to use the seductress, because your head represents authority, to get your attention, get your head to go over here. Right? What she's doing is she's capturing your attention. The dragon, which represents Satan, demons, then go after your children. So the dragon, basically, the picture I see is like a dragon with his mouth wide open while a woman is on the table giving birth. And the dragon is trying to consume the child. The dragon is trying to consume the child. Now, he can't literally take the child and swallow him, but what he wants to do is he wants to consume the child's mind. He wants to consume the child's mind. He wants to overwhelm the child with rejection, false doctrine, fear, anger, bitterness, insecurity. He wants to, because he's afraid of what's going to come out of her womb. Satan hates women because he is tormented by the idea of what's going to come out of your womb. He knows his end is near, and these prophets keep popping out, and he don't know where they're coming from. And see, here's the scary thing that he's coming to realize, which is why he has pushed for the abortion so bad. He's come to realize that God will take a child born out of wedlock to a crack-addicted mother and a crack-addicted father, and God will turn that child to be born a prophet. See, he was thinking I can break. And so now you got all these powerful, because every prophet, every pastor, every teacher, every apostle, every evangelist who steps into position begins to dismantle his kingdom and accelerates his end. So when he's going after the family unit, what he's trying to do is slow his end down. He's trying to slow it down. He's trying to slow it down. He's like, oh my goodness, no. Y'all, thank you, Sister Telsha. God bless you, sis. Thank you, Sister Telsha. He's trying to slow his end down. He's like, okay. All right. Girl, listen. You need to go get with that man. That man good. He know that man ain't no good. He wants you to sleep with that man. He wants you to have a baby with that man. He wants you. Then he gets scared. He want to kill that baby. Or if he kills that baby, if he knows that I ain't got to worry about this man's child. I got a generational curse on him that says I get to take the firstborn of his sons. He don't even know he's under a generational curse. I get to take his sons. So I don't mind him having a baby with her. Matter of fact, I want her to have so many babies that she tie her tubes, because when the man of God comes into her life, there's a prophet that's scheduled to come from her and the right man. But I want to give her 3-4 kids while she's with the wrong men out here. That way she tie her tubes. I want to give her 3 or 4 kids with men who I got under a demonic contract, because I got rights to their children. Yep. Are you hearing it? He under a contract. His whole grandma was a witch. He under a demonic contract. I got rights to his kids. So I don't mind her having kids with him, because I know, I see that light. I see the glory of God. Witches call it aura, but it's glory. I see the light of God radiating from her, and I know God going to use her at some point, and there's going to be a man of God. There's going to be a man of God that come into her life, and these two going to be powerful, and she going to have children with him. Let me give her so many kids right now. Let me tie her out her womb. Let me tear out her womb. Let me make sure she don't have those kids. So by the time you meet the man of God, he like, so how you doing? Shut up, y'all. Go sit down. Yeah, hold on. I gotta put them to kids. How many kids you got? 3? Oh wow. So you ever thought about having now I got my tubes tied. I love revealing his secrets, y'all. It'd be so much fun to me. It'd be so much fun. I'm trying to get you to understand why he's after your womb. To my sisters and to my brothers, why he's after your attention. Because a good name is a blessing. And what he does not want you to do, to my brothers in Christ, Your name is supposed to pass generation to generation, and it's supposed to have integrity attached to it generation to generation. He does not want that to happen. So what he wants you to do is he wants you to be like, yeah, shake it. While the mom over there back there going crazy and losing her mind because she ain't got a proper covering. And now she up there, she dysfunctional, she immature, she taking your kids through hell. And the enemy starts to utilize that. He utilizes her and he utilizes you to break those kids. The next thing you know, your daughter 12 years old in front of a mirror twerking, trying to practice for her. When she go to school, she want to put it up in the air for these little boys. I just got to number one. Number two, she envies the wife. She envies the wife. This is the fact about the adulteress. Brother, she don't want you. I used to hang around these type of women. She don't want you. Been around my whole life. She don't want you. She may like you. She may be attracted to you. But as far as a lifelong commitment, she's not that. She'll commit to you for a life. She'll come and get into your life and she'll stick with you as long as she knows there's a possibility that you can go back to your wife. She has an assignment. Her attraction to you is seasonal. Her attraction to you is going to only be there until the wife or the former wife heals and moves on without you. And because she's so attracted and envious of your wife, even if your wife leaves, she's going to keep monitoring her on social media. Oh, we got women on here that could testify, but I promise they won't. Because they know they did it. They know they played the side chick. They know they did it. Show me a bold one. Show me a bold one. And if your wife ever gets some confidence, your former wife ever gets some confidence, and she go out there and, she start doing her thing and she happy without you, the side chick gonna follow. If you married and you went through some stuff like that, you better know when to sow. Y'all better get some prophetic sensitivity. Because y'all getting help. You getting your help right here. She envies the wife. You can do Cash App. You can do Cash App. Usually, for those of you moderators, make sure you post in that so they'll know how to sow. Because a lot of times people will reach out to me. I'll post it in here. Thank you, Sister Alicia. God bless you, sis. She envies the wife. I got a story. Don't want to tell it, but I'm going to tell it anyhow. I was married. And, dude, he had cheated with many women. That was the thing. He had an issue or what have you. And I was working. This one girl ended up getting hired. Now, we used to have this number that came up on our call ID all the time. And we changed our house phone, a couple of times. Every time I answered the phone, it would be wrong number. They'll ask for some silly name, and I'd be like, you got the wrong number. It didn't take me long to realize it's always coming. I'm going to make up a name. It's always coming from Jane Doe. It's always coming from this Jane Doe number. Jane Doe was a male name, so we'll say John Doe on the call ID. When I pick up the phone, and you can tell they were using a fake voice. They were saying, may I speak to, and they'll say some crazy name. And I said, I told you a long time ago, you got the wrong number. I literally never thought anything about it. I thought it was just some ignorant people playing on the phone, right? And we changed our number several times, and it was always that same number would end up with our number, even when we had a private number. And I'm like, how is this happening? Oh, wait, so still ignorant, never put two and two together. And the reason I didn't put two and two together is because my ex played along with it. So he picked up the phone. He's like, you got the wrong number. Why y'all keep calling here with this? And then we talk about it. He's like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. He said, I think it's such and such probably gave our number away. I said, probably did. I don't know why they playing on this phone or what have you. I never thought anything about it. Think about it. One particular day, me and the ex, his sister and I, we got into some beef. I was, young, still carnal, what have you. Actually still freshly saved. But we had a little beef or what have you. So She was pregnant. She comes over to my house one day. Me and my ex were standing outside. He's sitting on the steps, and I'm standing there. And I had my purse because we had just got home, but we were just standing there talking. And the sister pulls up in front of our house. She pulls up. She gets out, and we see her because we both of us not talking to her at this point because she's keeping a mess. So she get out of her car. If y'all got something to say to me, say it. She really didn't know me that well, right? She didn't know me that well, and people just always thought I was. People always think I'm super meek or what have you. I can be. I am naturally meek, but my personality is just weird, I guess. So I get mad because I'm tired of this. So I take off running toward her. I take off, and she's pregnant. But I take off going toward her because it's a long sidewalk. I wasn't running, but I was doing a power walk toward her. And I'm coming up and I'm doing this right here. I'm going off. I'm cussing and screaming. And she started putting her stomach out, because she's pregnant. She started doing this. I said, oh, don't put your stomach out. You knew you was pregnant when you came over here. And I remember the way she diverted me. She said, he cheating on you anyhow. And cause he's staying on the steps, right? She's like, he cheating on you anyhow. And then when she said the name, Jane Doe coming up on your call ID. This had been happening for like 3 years. Jane Doe had been coming on my call ID for 3 years. Three. Every time we changed number, like I said, he played along with it. She was like, Jane Doe? That's my husband's niece. He been messing with her. I looked at her. I turned around. I started walking off. I started walking toward the house. And I literally remember this moment. I was so angry as I was passing him by. I bit my lip and I balled up my fist and drew my hand back. And then I put my arm down and I walked on in the house. Thank you, Sister Yolanda. God bless you, sis. I walked on in the house. I was furious. I could not believe I got played for 3 years and I didn't know it. I couldn't believe it. Like, I got played. But that's not the story. That's not the story. That's just the beginning of the story. The beginning. Share. Like and share. So, after I figure it out, I find out who this girl is or what have you. Find out who the Jane Doe girl is. I don't remember how I found out about her. Well, no, I just knew her name. I didn't know anything about her. I just knew her name or what have you. The girl she gets hired at my job while I was working. She ends up getting hired. The Jane Doe ends up getting hired at the job that I work at. The company. And the same, she ends up getting hired. I hear her name, realize who she is. She comes up to me. Hey, aren't you such and such? She was like, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm trying to act like I don't know, because at the end of the day, my beef ain't with you. I can tell Jane Doe is not all the way wrapped too tight. She's not wrapped too tight. I look at the girl and I'm thinking to myself, this dude, nah. Jane Doe works with me for a while. Wasn't wrapped too tight at all. Stares at me darn near every day. And you can see it wasn't a contentious stare. It was an envious one. She would just, and when I look up and she'll say, I say, I would do that. I'm like, hi. Okay. Thank you, Sister Jasmine. God bless you. Jane Doe catches me one particular day in the lounge. And I'm just sharing a story. I have a repertoire full of stories. It's funny. I've had a really awesome life. Awesome. It wasn't that awesome when it was happening, but it's been an awesome life. Jane Doe, every single day, it's like going out of her way so I can see her. And like I said, it wasn't a, hey, girl. It was a, hey, you look pretty. I said, thank you. So I go home. I used to clown him. I was like, dude, really? I ain't met with that girl. I said, really? Really? I said, you should be arrested. Because she ain't wrapped tight. And he like, of course, he go into shame. Because I wasn't supposed to find out what he like. He go straight into shame. I'm like, bro. Like, for real. So, long story short, Jane Doe, like I said, she's the sister's niece through the husband. Jane Doe comes to my job when she's working there. She comes, she catches me in the lounge. She says, and we're gonna make up a name for the sister. We'll call her um, Peaches. She says, I cuss Peaches out about you. Now, Peaches is the sister-in-law. I'm like, okay. She was like, girl, yeah, she called herself trying to talk about you. I'm like, don't nobody talk. She a nice girl. She a nice girl. She called herself trying to talk about you, girl. I went flat off. Jane Doe was trying to be my friend. Trying hard to be my friend. It was really weird. Was trying like very hard to be my friend. Thank you, Sister Amelia. God bless you. I felt bad for her. Never looked at her like you nasty. No, I never looked at her like that. I looked at her like, bro, you wrong for that. And when I say wrong for that, I'm like, wasn't that I'm talking about her. It was more so having a conversation with her. You should know that you don't go there with. I'm saying it to say, and another other woman, that lady stalked the crap out of me. I had to go to the police department so many times. I thank God for the deliverance. But they never obsess over the man. It is the woman that they are obsessed with. It is the woman. They envy your life. They want what the female has. And the husband is the protecting provider. This is the very demon he's supposed to be protecting his family from. But when a demon comes, a demon doesn't come looking like a demon. It comes looking like 36, 24, 36. And a lot of times that guy can he does not know that the dead are there and her guests are in the depths of hell. He does not know that the dead are there and her guests are in the depths of hell. And he's distracted. He's distracted. To split his family. I'm giving this because this is what the Lord gave me to teach. It may not reach some of you, but there's somebody that needs this. Number 3, she hates and despises herself. Talking about the other woman. I know she cocky. I'm going to give you a little bit of revelation. Cocky women hate themselves. Thank you, Sister Jaylene. God bless you. Cocky women hate themselves. I'm going to say that again. Because a lot of the brothers have fallen for the funk because you think that when a cocky woman come up and she say, they be hating me because I'm beautiful. She may be pretty, but she don't like herself. I'm going to tell you something. A woman who loves herself does not feel the need to compete or contend with another woman. I have no desire to compete or contend with another female because what's hers is hers, what's mine is mine. And if she can grab what looks like it's mine, then it wasn't mine to begin with. She hates or despises herself. Please hear me when I say this. Conceit, or the appearance of conceit, conceitedness, or conceit is just a cover-up for insecurity. It's when a woman takes the outside of herself, the thing that she knows is arranged in a nice way, and she uses that to distract you from her character. She hates herself. She does not like herself. So she has to give you that extra. She wanted to do to me tonight. It's a distraction. She got to pull the thong up, bend over, and do all of the other stuff because she has no real conversation to give you. Thank you, Sister Tara. God bless you, sis. She has no real conversation to give you. It's a distraction from her character. She is decorated in some cases. In some cases, she's decorated well on the outside. Now, in other cases, I love y'all. Other cases, somebody said men cheat down. In other cases, the other woman is not so pretty. Not by societal standards, anyhow. She's not so pretty. She wears her low self-esteem on the outside. And so a lot of times what she then has to use is sex. Sex. She competes in the bedroom. She competes in the bedroom. Meaning she's willing to do stuff to you that you know your wife won't do. She'll stab you. You like that? You like that? She'll stab you. She'll stab you. Right up them anals. And have you. All right. She hates or despises herself. She hates or despises herself. Oh, she'll stab you. She'll bite you. She'll pull your hair because she knows she's not. She knows she doesn't have the physical features or what have you. And she looks at the wife and she says, "The wife is pretty." Believe me when I tell you, they think like that. They'll look at the wife and be like, "She's really pretty. What do you want with me?" Okay. And I go in that bedroom. I better take some cooking oil. I better heat it up first. I got to do some stuff up in there because look who I'm competing with. I heat up some cooking oil. Go up in there. Try to peter him. I'll try to bite his ear off. Send him home, limping and stuff like that so he can feel like he got his time's worth. Feel like I'm a word. She hates or despises herself. Last one for the truth about the seductress. And that is once her role or her job is done, she will leave. She has a spirit in her. That's a spirit. Once she has completed destroying the marriage, she'll leave. Now, let me go ahead and say this. She may stay physically, but emotionally, she won't be there. When I say destroy the marriage, I'm not talking about the divorce is final, because a divorce can be finalized, but a marriage can still be intact. It can be finalized on paper, but the marriage is still intact because the husband has not fully removed his heart from the wife, and the wife has not fully removed her heart from the husband. So the divorce is finalized, but the marriage is still intact. And as long as that demon senses that soul tie, that female will stay with you. She'll give you baby. She'll do all that other stuff. But if the wife forgives, which a lot of women don't do, if the wife forgives and she heals and she moves on, and moving on doesn't mean getting in a relationship. Maybe she goes to school. Maybe she goes and she starts doing stuff for herself. She genuinely doesn't want you back. The mistress will leave. She will leave. She'll stick around for another year or two just to make sure her job is done, and then she will leave. Because you got to understand this. Get my book, Devil Bait, High Heels, and Spiritual Warfare. When you're dealing with bait is never designed to keep, the fish is not designed to keep the bait. Sometimes the fish will swallow the bait whole, but the fish is not designed to keep the bait. If they can catch the fish, I come from the fishing community in Mississippi. When we caught a fish, if the fish hadn't swallowed the bait, we reuse the bait. All right. I'm only giving these ones for my feministic sisters. I love y'all. I know I be coming for you, but sometimes, my feminist sisters, you got to understand, you got to have a just balance. And a lot of times feminists be on here be like, what about the men? The men do it too. And I'm like, good God, we know that. I'm not just holding females accountable. My goal is to raise them up or what have you. I know you want to share this with your boyfriend and try to make him act right, but I promise you the video is not going to make him act right. That's a decision he makes between him and God. All right. Truth about the other guy. This is for those of you who have yourself a side piece, a man on the side. You think about getting a man on the side. I'm going to give you 4 pointers for them. And this is so we don't hear what about the males? What about the males? Number one, obviously, I said number one with the female, she's a witch. The guy, he's a warlock. He's a warlock, meaning it's a part of witchcraft. is a part of witchcraft. And understand this doesn't mean that the person is practicing potions. Um, to cast a spell, it means to use words. It's the arrangement of words. So he's using his words to get what he wants. The other guy, he's telling you, okay, your husband ain't a man. I mean, he's just a boy. You just want to come. You want to come be with a man. He's using his words. So that's witchcraft, which makes him a warlock. And you need to understand when you're dealing with witches and warlocks, it's all about power. It's all about power. When you're dealing with the other guy is really competing with the guy. It's really a self-esteem boost on his part to make him feel better about himself. It makes him feel good that you're willing to cheat on your guy with him. It makes him feel like, oh, your man don't know what he doing. He don't know what he doing. And if the woman can tell you, she probably tell you, bro, yeah, he does. Just the walls of Jericho. Number 2. Truth about the other guy. He's probably a pervert. No, not probably. He is a pervert. Now, there are different degrees of perversion. Most of the time, when a man is willing to sleep with another woman, he is on another level of perversion. He has a sexual addiction in most cases. That guy won't just sleep with another woman. Thank you, Sister Nicole. God bless you, sis. He won't just sleep with another woman. I want you to hear me when I say this. Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your pets. When you're dealing with a pervert, y'all got to understand something about the spirit of perversion is that it's not designed to just have a person promiscuous. It takes them through a gradual process of going deeper. So a promiscuous male in many cases is going to want to explore. After he's had his round with women, he may be interested in kids. Most of men, I would dare to say probably more than 50% of men who are willing to sleep with another somebody's wife will probably go after your little girl. I say 50% to be nice. I honestly will say, I would dare to say it's probably 80%. Somebody who's willing to sleep with a married woman will probably go after your child. It's a spirit. They have this thing. It's all about sex with them. It's all about sex with them. And when you go to degrees of perversion, like when it's just this sexual appetite, most of the time these people watch porn. Your dude gonna play baseball. Home run. He might be the batter. If y'all don't know what it's Brokeback Mountain, like y'all be making me say this stuff. When you're dealing with somebody who is promiscuous, like seriously promiscuous, they're gonna go to different degrees of promiscuity. There are levels to that. When you're dealing right, lust is never satisfied. Demons don't have a stomach. They don't have an ability to be satisfied. When a man is constantly sleeping with women, he keep doing it. At some point, it's not going to be enough. So what he's going to start doing is he's going to start doing all kinds of crazy stuff to that woman. Y'all women, y'all can testify to this. Y'all better come in. He's going to start doing crazy stuff to you. He's going to start wanting to get all talking about exploring. He's going to want to explore everything. It's like, bro, listen. No. He'll have you in the sex store, you buying everything because it's like you're in a sex store. What are you getting this for? That's for me. That's for daddy. What's this? The lotion that heat up. Y'all in the sex store paying $50 and $100 just because he can't be satisfied. He can't be satisfied. He gonna be up in there. He's gonna try everything he can with a woman. He's gonna go with the freaks. He's gonna go with the prostitutes. He's gonna go all over the place. But then at some point, he's gonna get tired of all that. Well, he gonna get tired of it. He gonna want to try something else, new. So this guy comes up to him, talking some, hey, he gonna be like, Hey, how you doing? Yeah. Thank you, Didi. God bless you, sis. I'm telling you, that bro man going lust can't be satisfied, y'all. I'm trying to say it a nice way. Okay, I'll say this and then I'll move on. That lube you found in your dresser went from you. Babe, what's this? Oh, I bought that for us. Why is it used? And why would we need? We never need no. Why you buying? They put that up. This for you. Why is it open? Now this ain't lube, y'all. For those of y'all, this is Carmax. This is for y'all. Mom, me think I've been asking it for 7 years. I promise you. Why is it open? Thank you, Sister Jamie. God bless you. That I'm saying that to say perversion is never satisfied. A guy who is promiscuous, who is doing all that stuff, at some point he's gonna run out of positions. This is why we started getting these Kama Sutra books and stuff. You're gonna run out of things because they're still thinking they're gonna be satisfied, and then at some point he's gonna be like, and you can't even have your little dog, you can't even have your little Shih Tzu Fifi around him because he's gonna start looking at Fifi weird. Ain't looking at my dog like that. Oh no. So you say, all right, let me move on. Let me move on. All right, because I got to stay to teaching because I go into silly mode. But I'm just helping you to understand. I'm saying that to say because I've seen this in guys in my family, and I've seen this in guys in general. Not just in guys and women. Whenever you start going into sexual perversion, when a person just constantly goes into it, when they go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, they start exploring other things. They start exploring a lot of other things. Yeah, poor little Fifi gonna get got. I'm sorry. Poor little Fifi gonna be like, ah, gonna be sitting up there with my dog up in there. All right, number three. Number three, he despises the institution of marriage. He despises the institution of marriage. Matter of fact, he's called to destroy it. He despises the institution of marriage, which means that he ain't gonna marry you. First and foremost, you have to understand men are not like women. And I can't say that enough. Men are not like women. A man is. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to move on. The laughing faces kind of took me back. I'm trying to move on. All right. Poor Fifi. But he despises the institution of marriage. And if you think he's going to marry you, you're sadly mistaken. Men are not like women. A woman will leave her husband thinking that the next man is going to commit to her and marry her. A man rarely, if ever, will take a woman and marry her. A man will rarely, if ever, take a woman from her husband and marry. He won't do it. A woman will leave her husband to marry another man because women are easily deceived because we live in our heads, we live in our imaginations. We'll paint this beautiful picture and I can't stand him. He didn't give me the life I deserve. I'm too pretty to be so poor. Okay, Tyrone, where you say you take me to the Tahiti? Okay. You will rarely ever find a man who sleeps with a married woman and marries her. Because for him, he knows how to put you in the category of a whore. If a man sleeps with a married woman, he does not trust her. It's just a power move. It's all about the orgasm and it's all about the power. That's it. He's not looking at her. And I know he may say, I'm in love with you. Do you want to know something? I don't know if you know anything about lust. I dealt with it. So let me tell you something about lust. Lust is intensified when you make believe. So when you're dealing with somebody who's lust filled, sometimes you play make believe in the bedroom. You make believe he make believe he love you. You make believe that y'all gonna be together forever. Y'all playing make believe up in there. That's it. Because it intensifies the moment. But ask him how he feel once that big O has happened. Once the orgasm is done, ask him how he feels. That man ain't thinking about you. Now he done sobered up. Now he thinking this was a big mistake. Oh crap, I made a mistake. The heck I just did. Got a whole wife at home. Got a beautiful wife. Man, stupid. You laying there thinking, I have some beautiful children. I hope the counter popped. Because, brothers, that's how women think. I want to have his baby. I want to have his baby. He loved me and I love him. And the man is sitting there laying there. This old nappy head, lizard looking woman ain't even worth me losing my wife. I can't believe I just did this. Y'all got two different thoughts going on in your head. I'm trying to get you to understand that it's all about sex for the dude. It ain't about you. It's about conquering. It's about sex. Now he laying there hoping that you ain't pregnant. Shoot. Dang it. Dang. Oh, he get up. He be like, man, I ain't know it's so late. I gotta go. Why you just go up? Nah, I was supposed to be stopped by a store. I told Jane I was gonna go by the store, but I'm gonna call you. He don't want your company. He leaving because he don't want to look at you. He feels bad. He feels terrible. Matter of fact, he even feels slightly angry with you. I be wondering. All right. He despises the institution of marriage. So he doesn't. The institution of marriage is established by God. The institution of marriage is established by God. So there's a spirit in him that despises, and so that means he's not gonna marry you, sis. He's not gonna marry you. He's not gonna marry you. He may stick with you for a little bit, but he's not gonna marry you. Last one, number 4. He despises his own soul. He hates himself. He doesn't love himself. And the Bible says, husbands, love your wives as you love yourself. And you have to understand when you're dealing with the adulterer, he doesn't love himself, nor does he love his wife, because he doesn't love himself. You can only give love to the capacity in which you received it. So he does not love himself in totality. He has not learned to love himself. Therefore, he doesn't love his wife, and he doesn't have the capacity or the ability or the know-how to love you. He will only give you the measure of love that he gives to himself. And even within that, he's going to restrain. He's going to give you bits and pieces of what he gives to himself. And that's when you start referring to him as selfish. He does not love himself. He has never learned to love himself. When you learn to love yourself, you're not going to be promiscuous. When you learn to love yourself, you're not going to sleep around. When you learn to love yourself, you will start to value those things that God gave you in life. You're married, you value that person. Even throughout their imperfections, you value that person. And if that person is broken, if the person has if something happens and that person needs counseling, you're going to do the same thing you would do to that vehicle out in the parking lot. You would take it to a mechanic, right? You're going to take it to a counselor. You're going to get it done. You're going to get it done. But if somebody turns around and says, hey, I'm a cheat. Now I'm going to say this. I'm going to go because this is promiscuity, adultery, and marriage. I didn't write down anything from marriage, but I'm going to give you from what the Lord gives me in the heart. Marriage is designed to mirror our relationship with the Most High God. What you see in your marriage is a reflection of the type of relationship you have with the Most High God. Who caught that? What you see manifesting in your relationship with another person is a reflection of your relationship with the Most High God. A wife is a reflection of her husband. But if her husband is broken, The wife, 9 times out of 10, is broken, and he will continue to break her all the more. It's designed to reflect your relationship. When I complained to God when I was married and I said, God, he don't love me. And God said, I know how you feel. He said, I know how you feel. What he was telling me was that everything he's doing to you, you did to me. You put everything before me. I was like, God, he put people before me. He loved other folks. He did. And God was like, I know how you feel. I know how you feel. He would not allow me to be a victim, no matter how many times I came to him in tears, crying and frustrated. He would not allow me to be a victim. He made me take accountability time and time again, even when I hadn't done nothing wrong to the guy. My accountability had to be what I did. And I found myself in there like, God, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I did wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, please. Just the type of relationship you have with God right now is the type of relationship you would have with your spouse. Right now, if you got married, the type of relationship. So when people come out here talking about I'm married and my husband's a piece of crap, I'm like, what does your relationship look like with God? What does it look like? You're receiving from your husband what you gave to God. All of it is a mirrored reflection, just in dimensions. That's all. It's just mirrored reflections. It's a constant manifestation of what you do to God. So this is reason why in my 7 years of singleness, I've chased God. Even before then, I've been chasing God for more than a decade now. I've been chasing him with my whole heart. I'm like, what do you want me to give you now? Let me give you, because when God says, Tiffany, okay, now you're ready, I want to make sure that I have such a strong relationship with God, such a stable relationship with God, that I know how to have that with another person. That I can be married and I can sit back and I can be like, okay. And I can have that relationship, that grace that God gives me, the mercy that God gives me. I can sit there and be looking like, okay, bro, can I tell you something? We're gonna have to get you some baby wipes, because yeah, you don't do the wipe. I don't know if your mama told you and all that, but this ain't cute. Like, okay, let me get you some baby wipes so you can, instead of me being up in there, ew, I can't. Don't touch me. You have streaks in your underwear. I can't do this. Can't do this. It's just nasty. What type of grown man would? So what I've learned in my single season is to chase the most high God and not a man. Not a marriage, not a relationship, not money, not anything. Chase the most high God. And every time I find a piece of him, I get that piece, I bring it close, I hold it tight, and then I say, God, I want more of you. Is that enough? I want more. I want more. I'm not satisfied with this. I want more. You made me to the point where I can never be satisfied. I can only be satisfied in you. And this is not all of you, so I want more. Give me more of you, God. I glorify your name. And me having that type of heart makes it easy for me. If a guy is not paying me any attention, I don't give three rats feathers. Because at the end of the day, my attention is on God. That's it. That's all. And when you have, and I want you to hear me, daughters of the Most High God, when you have that type of heart, God is very careful with you. When I say careful, it can be frustrating, but it is a blessing, because he becomes like a very strict father. Whereas any man that comes and be like checking you out, your abba will get in the way. What you want? What do you need? What do you want? What do you want? Before he can even get over there to you. Oh, thank you, Lord. God will arrest him with intimidation. He will arrest him with intimidation. He will be intimidated, not knowing how to approach you too afraid because he doesn't want to mess it up. Because what he's feeling on the inside is God saying, what do you want? Now, somebody who just want to lay you down ain't thinking about no intimidation because he doesn't care. But when somebody's looking at you, potentially, he will be arrested in many cases by intimidation. He ain't intimidated by you. He intimidated by the God in you. The God in you will cause him to stop. And God said, listen, that's my baby girl. And I love her. You ain't about to hurt her. You're not going to come in her life. So I'm going to need you to go work this out. I know you think you're ready, but I need you to go work that out. Because this right here would hurt her. And I'm not letting you go nowhere near her. That man will make it up in his mind. I'm going to talk to her today. I got this. I got this. I see Sister Myra. I see Sister Patience. I see Sister Kayla. I see you. I see you. And the minute he tried to do that, intimidation arrests him all over again. Look at your face. I can't do it. All right, I'm going to catch you. I'm going to catch you. I'm going to catch you. I'm going to catch you tomorrow. I'm going to catch it tomorrow. Because what God is doing is God is saying, she's in me. She's trusting me to provide for her. And there's no way I'm going to disappoint her by allowing you to come into her life and unload your crap. There's no way I'm about to let you come into her life. I need you to go work that out. Even if he says, but God, you told me she's a wife. Yeah, I told you. That was an incentive. Go work out your crap. God will arrest him with intimidation. When you are in the Father's will, he acts like the Father that you want. The Father you always had wanted. He stands in the gap. He stands in the way. He gets in front when that guy comes. God constantly looking at you. Go to your mailbox and the dude like, God would arrest him with intimidation. You would arrest him with intimidation. And that's why, to my sisters, when you get into the will of God, it can feel like no man is looking at you. Nobody's checking for you. Oh, they are. They are. They are. They looking at you. They're just intimidated. They're just intimidated. Because you're not a girlfriend. Girlfriends are easy to approach because they're typically easy. But approaching a wife is a whole different thing. Approaching a wife is it's a different vibe. It's a different event, because to approach a wife means I have to be careful with her. And at the same time, one wrong move could cost me this, because God is entrusting me with something that's expensive, something that's delicate. He paid the price for, and he's telling me, don't you dare break it. It's like God gave, when I was immature, God gave me, he let me, it wasn't his will, but he let me mess with these broken women, and I dropped them and I broke them and I did all this stuff. God trusted me with those things that treated themselves like they were cheap. But now this woman is in God, and she's in Christ, and God and took all the broken pieces and he didn't put it together, and he didn't made her whole and what have you. In God's place all this value on her, and he loves her, and and you come up there and you talking about something. Let me have her. Oh, I love Abba. He'll hold you. What? You want my daughter? Then he'll give the man of God a bride price. Now, the bride price is not goats and money and all that. He'll tell that man what to go fix. Go fix this about yourself. Go fix that about yourself. Because you're not about to go anywhere near my daughter like that. Because you're supposed to love her as you love yourself right now. You don't love yourself. So you're going to rely wholly on her to be your mama and your wife. And you're going to break her, which is going to give me a bad reputation because she trusted me. She finally surrendered to me. She trusted me with her heart. She trusted me. And this is not how I'm going to repay her trust. I'm not going to repay her trust by allowing you to come into her life and take her through some stuff. So yeah, I'm going to give you this much time. Go get yourself together. I'll deal with her. I'll hold her off. But if you don't get yourself together in this space of time called grace, I'm putting her back in hiding for the next man that comes around who's ready. The one that come around who's willing to pay the price, because before you build anything, including marriage, you got to count the cost. To be married to her, there is a cost associated with it, meaning there has to be a level of depth to yourself. You're going to have to be fully submitted to me before you come anywhere near my daughter. Because I already got her. She's going to make a good wife. I'd already healed her. I done delivered her. I got her. I got her heart. I talk to her. She hears me. She responds. I got her. She's made a commitment to me. She's laid her body on the altar. She's laid all these false relationships on the altar. She's done all that. She's putting in the work. What about you? Before you come near my daughter, go get yourself together. Because she's trusting me. And I'm not going to betray her trust. I'm not going to betray her trust by allowing you to come in and unload all your mommy issues on her. About allowing her to come in and cause her to deal with insecurity that I delivered her from. To cause her to deal with rejection that I delivered her from. So you can gaslight and manipulate. No. She's in my will. So I will protect her at all costs. Because a father's love is like no other. He will protect you, girl, sis, woman of God. Hear me. The whole time you single, don't complain about being lonely. It's the man, it's your Abba, your father, your source, your creator. He's protecting you. Not only is that, he's healing you. You may not be ready. He's delivering you. He's making you ready. And he's hiding you. There have been Christian men, decent Christian men, who may have asked for your hand, who may have had their interest, but God looked and said, "You're not good enough for my baby." Thank you, Sister Katz. God bless you. You're not good enough for my baby. You're not good enough. I know you're Christian, but that ain't enough for me. Because what I planted on the inside of her, nope. You're going to have to cover her all the way. This is somebody you're going to have to cover. This is somebody you're going to have to pray for. This is somebody you're going to have to get up out of your sleep in the middle of the night, and you're going to have to lay hands on her. I'm going to need you to cover her. I'm not letting you nowhere near her. You don't even pray for yourself. And you're not going to idolize her, because then you're going to put too much weight on her. Just accept Christ. How do you overcome the loneliness? Bind up the spirit of loneliness. Realize that loneliness, thank you, Sister Roxanne, God bless you. Realize that loneliness is not a reality, it's a belief. Bind it up, cast it down, and then get in your purpose. I'm too busy to be lonely. And this is what I do with the sisters as a parent. But I'm too busy to be lonely. I don't have time to be lonely, because I got 10 card games now. I'm about to be 50 books in. I have too much stuff to do. So get inside of your purpose. Get in your purpose. Get in your assignment. Do the thing. And when you're doing that kind of stuff, I can tell you honestly, it is so satisfying. It is so satisfying. So I'm not walking around here like, I wonder if he's the one. He keep looking at me. Is he it? No, take it. I wonder if he's the one. Why he switching? Dang. Wait, let me look. I'm gonna watch out his mouth and his hand move. Girl, I'm trying to tell. Oh shoot, I don't do that because at the end of the day, I trust that I'm in the Father's hands, and I trust that as long as I'm in His will, if I'm single, it's because He wants me to be that way. For now, if I'm single, it's because He wants me to be that way. It's not that He's trying to hold a man back from me. It's not even that He's saying I'm not ready. He may be saying I haven't found somebody good enough. If you only knew the Most High, if you only knew how good He is, I haven't found somebody good enough. And it's not always just good enough for who you are, who good enough for who you're becoming, who you're destined to become, because God doesn't look at where you are. God looks, and now he looks at you where you are to determine whether you're ready, but He looks at where you're going. He has to give you somebody big enough to cover you for where you're going. Marriage is designed to reflect your relationship with God, and it often does. If your relationship with God sucks, your marriage will suck. If your intimacy with God sucks, your intimacy with your husband is gonna suck. And hear me when I say this: intimacy with the husband is not always sex, but sometimes you can end up having satisfying sex but whack intimacy. What that means is intimacy and sex is pretty much like pillow talk. It's when you go heart to heart, you open your hearts to each other to degrees of honesty. And intimacy and sex often depends on the intimacy of honesty, or the level of sex. So a lot of times people bring foreign objects, strange fire, great weird things into the bedroom in an attempt to get what they would have got had they reached a level of intimacy with their wife. I just dropped some bombs, and I promise, sometimes you can drop stuff, but people don't value it. They don't see the depth of what you just gave. It's like worship. The deeper you go in worship, which is intimacy with God, the greater amount of impartation you can receive for God, because you start to usher in His presence. He is in your praise. You begin to usher in His presence. Understand that what happens in the natural is a reflection of what happens in the spirit. So when you're sitting there and you have a sex life with your husband, but the intimacy is whack, it's because your husband or you both have told each other just a little bit, but y'all won't go any further than that information. You won't open yourself up all the more. But if you have real pillow talk where you begin to open yourself up, and the more you talk and the more you reveal, the more one you become. And the more one you become, the more better it's going to be in the bedroom. But that comes from a degree of trust or faith. It's very similar to our relationship with God. When you have that great degree of faith with God, then you'll worship Him more, which causes you to have more encounters with Him. And same thing in marriage. In marriage, most people have surface level conversations where you tell each other just a little bit, but not too much. You tell him some stuff about your past. He tell you some stuff about his past. Y'all open up and what have you. But there's still things that you hold back. Things he holds back. When you begin to open up, and intimacy is intensified in moments where fear is trying to get in. So if I'm in a moment of fear, and I allow myself to go into a place of vulnerability, which is humility or submissiveness, humbling myself. If I in a place of fear, and I look at my husband and I say, "Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm scared. I'm afraid of what you're gonna do because I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm scared of you leaving. I'm scared of you walking away from me. I'm not gonna lie, or what have you." And he opens up and he says, sometimes I have that same fear with you. You know, um, Sometimes I feel this and I feel that. And then we reaffirm each other. Vulnerability is a form of intimacy. And in that intimacy, because what we're doing is we're opening up our hearts to one another and we're being transparent and we're being intimate in that moment, we don't need to live in no apartment because we're going to have a good time. Because now our degree of intimacy in the bedroom will go to a whole nother level. It'll be, wow, you got sister girl in apartment A with cooking oil and ink pen stabbing a dude trying to get, they up in there having all this, they slapping each other with dildos and pulling each other hair and choking each other out. They over there trying to get a tenth of what you get in there just through intimacy. Just through intimacy, just you in there. That's why I got to close behind this, but I'm going to say this. This is why people, a lot of times, women, you think that marriage is, I got to get a purple wig, a blue wig, a yellow wig. I got to play all these different roles and I got to do all that. And then when you go to talking about intimacy, they think, oh, you're going to be that boring woman in the bedroom. Girl, I was a whole freak. I was married. Come on, I know better than that. I ain't scared to say it. Lingerie, oh, I had it all. That man didn't want for nothing. If I ever got his tail on, I would put him on camera to tell he'd be like, he would straight tell you, I was stupid. I ain't gonna lie to you. If that was a thing, you come to understand that Hollywood lied. Being that freak ain't enough. Thank you, Pastor Vanessa. God bless you. You come to understand it's not enough. It's intimacy. I used to collect lingerie. I worked at Walmart in the lingerie department. My mom worked in McRae's. I collected it. I was a size 4. Oh, I had plans for marriage and I made sure. But I was a sweet little high. Okay. Think people be innocent if you want to. I'm innocent in God, but man, please. That man didn't want for nothing. I came to learn that you cannot satisfy a demon. You're like, that's really a demon. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You can get darts. Is this what you need? Do I need to set a dart on fire and just pin you to the wall? Is this satisfying you enough? It's not enough. What they are lacking is a void. They need an intimate relationship with God. And the more intimate and transparent and open he is with God, the more healed he gets to cover you. And when he's healed to cover you, the more intimate he is with God, the more intimate he learns to be with you, which causes you to be more intimate with him. And when you're opening up in those conversations and talking to each other, when you get to the bedroom, the folks sit there in apartment A be talking about, girl, you don't let your man choke you? Mine's choke me. Baby, I ain't got to do all that. Your man's still out there cheating. He done choked you to sleep. Darn, that caused your eyeball to come out your head. I ain't got to do all that. Because what we have up in there is straight bona fide intimacy. That takes you to another degree in intimate relations or sex. It takes you to another level. It's a level that most people never get access to because they're still trying to do it the world's way. It's just like alcohol is it's just people trying to get something similar to what they get with the Holy Spirit. That's what all this other stuff is. People trying to get what they can naturally get in intimacy, but they don't want to open their hearts and be vulnerable, so they have to go to the sex store and get, baby, I bought an extension cord. What's that for? I'm gonna spank you, then I'm gonna do a fake strangling match with you. But baby, you gonna carry it too far. Last time you went to, I promise I ain't gonna kill you. I'm gonna let go right in time. I'm gonna let go right in time. No, you ain't. Your eyes gonna cross. You're gonna get carried out. Next thing you know, I'm dead. And all of that wasn't even necessary. It starts with him first, having an intimate relationship with the Most High God. He has that intimacy with God. He's open. You have that intimacy with God. You're open. You lose the shame of your past. He loses the shame of his past. You guys are able to open up. And there are degrees to that. You begin to open and you begin to represent who you really are, and you let him know who he's covering. Because you can't, it's hard for him to cover you when he don't know you. You let him know who he's covering as a husband, and you open up and he opens up, and baby, y'all can choke each other out if you want to. Can check, y'all can be up in there. He can tell you, baby, I don't know, I always had a fantasy of you wearing high heels and drop kicking me. It's just, ugh. You want me to drop kick you right on the nipple. I gotta go. But I'm saying that to say, let God have his way with you in your relationship with him. You got to have a strong relationship with God where you come out of idolatry, because that's the problem with the majority of people. Come out of idolatry and let God heal you, let God deliver you, let God prosper you. Come out of idolatry, and when you get to that space, God will bring the right person in due season. And when he brings the right person in due season, like I said, when the man comes, the man could be the right one. He could be the right one. He can come, and then he gonna feel that intimidation. God will arrest him. But when he's ready, y'all get married. He's already practiced intimacy with God, so he knows how to lead you. And when y'all are married, you open up. Lose your shame. For those of you who you got past issues that you're ashamed of, mate. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. I gotta go. Get into a community, and I'm moderators. Do me a favor. Post on my website, TiffanyBuckner.com. Join Esther Prep University. Get into a community where you can be vulnerable. Me and the women, we had a talk one time. We had a talk one time where we just really uncovered. We had a session one time where we uncovered sexual secrets, trauma, stuff like that. There was a lot of tears shed, but we had to lose the shame behind a lot of that stuff. Lose the shame. Get around some sisters. Get in a community that you can open up to in. Get in a community you can open up in. So when you get in that community, you can lose the shame behind your past. You can lose the shame behind your past. Thank you, Sister Idana, and thank you, Sister Katz. God bless y'all. I bless. I thank God, and thank you, Sister Kayla. God bless you. I love y'all. Love y'all. So I'm gonna get ready to close. Do me a favor. If you want to be a part of Esther Prep University, go join it now. I was supposed to be doing an advertisement because I keep saying I'm gonna come out and do stuff, and I just don't. But official registration, you can get in now, but we're going to be having a major registration by November 15th, which is in 8 days. But get in Esther Prep University right now. Join, and I'm telling you, your life will change forever. Your life will be changed forever. Get in, make a commitment to stay, make a commitment to not quit, because that's not what we do up in Esther Prep University. I'm not looking for quitters. I'm looking for people who are willing to go on a journey. And you're gonna have different seasons of emotions, so you have to go through every season and make it a point to not quit. That's how you master your emotions before marriage. That's how you master your emotions before marriage, or what have you. So get up in there. Listen, I love me some y'all. If this blessed you, I would dare you to sow a seed. I would dare you to sow a seed. If this blessed you, can go to my website, or you can cash up AnointedFire. But get into Esther Prep University, sow a seed. If nothing else, make sure you like and share this video. Okay? I love y'all. I hope this message blessed you, and God bless you. Love how my dog knows when I'm giving a closing statement. Hi, my baby. Okay. Love y'all. Talk to you soon. You coming over here to mama? Hey, bye-bye. All right. Trying to close this.